Leisure time. Did you ever stop to think how much leisure time you really have? Some of us put our leisure time to good use. And some of us, Ken Michaels, for example, spend most of our leisure time just moping.
Moping? He thinks I'm moping. Well, who wouldn't mope? There's nothing to do, nobody's around. You know how it is. I went down to the bowling alley, went over to the drugstore. None of the gang was there. All my friends are busy, so what's for me to do?
Do you suppose Ken has more leisure time than his friends do?
Huh? Well, no, I don't have more time. We all spend about the same amount of time in school, and the rest is leisure time. I've got nothing to do but wait for supper. My friends have more things to do. They're lucky.
Ken's pretty lucky, too.
Listen to that. All right, I'll bite. Why am I lucky?
Because you have so much leisure time. Time in which you can do things you enjoy. Time in which you don't have to work.
Like this, huh? Is that good?
Let me show you a few things. Suppose you had lived 100 years ago. What would you have been like? Take a look.
Where? Oh, is that me? Is that what I would have looked like 100 years ago?
Well, perhaps. But now, well, let's look back 100 years again and see someone else.
Who? Hey, that's my dad.
Young man, you get off that bed and get to work. After you clean out the stable, you can build some new steps for the back porch. While I work 72 hours a week, no son of mine is going to loaf.
72 hours?
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Tomorrow morning, young man, you're going out to get a regular job. You can work too, and earn your keep.
Not so good, Ken? Well, let's try another picture. Say about 50 years ago.
Oh, hello, son. Well, say, I've got some new pictures for the stereoscope. We'll look at them tonight. Don't forget about your chores. Have them all done by the time I'm through work. And keep the wood box full.
Boy, how long will you work, Dad?
Why, 10 hours. 10 hours a day, every day except Sunday.
60 hours a week? Boy.
Well, Ken, let's take a look at your father's time as it really is today.
Hi, Dad. You sure don't work as long hours as they used to.
That's right, Ken. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do so much work in so little time. This 40-hour week suits me fine. And some people even work shorter hours nowadays. But by the way, Ken, how would you like to play a quick round of golf before supper? I think we can work it in. And then later I'd like to shellac that new bookcase I'm making.
Well, Ken?
Yes, Dad does enjoy his leisure time. And to think that a few years ago, people didn't have nearly so much time to themselves.
Yes, we've gained a lot of leisure time in the last century or so. All of us.
Wait a minute. All of us? Mother should hear you say that. She's always complaining that she doesn't have enough time.
Well, let's see about that. Can you picture your mother as she might have been 50 years ago?
I guess so.
Why, that's hard work. It takes so much time, too. But that's woman's lot in life. Scrub clothes, carry water, bake bread, feed the chickens, till time to go to bed and then get up again to start all over again.
You see, Ken? Now, how about today?
My, this new washer certainly is a time saver. And I do need some extra time. Now, let's see, I want to do some shopping, but this first.
Wait a minute. This may be easier work, but it still looks like work.
Oh, well, I have to plan the program for the Women's Club next month. That's one of my favorite activities, you know. It does keep me busy, but, well, that's not work.
What do you think, Ken?
Well, Mother does have more leisure time now. But still, she's always busy. How does she find so many things to do? How can I find something to do with my extra time? Or for that matter, what about you? I don't know. It seems as if leisure time is a problem.
Well, let's see how your friends have met that problem.
I told him once my friends were all busy. Oh, busy. They have something to do with their time. Let's see. Last I saw of Dave, he was headed that-a-way.
You mean this way? Yes. Dave has a hobby of identifying birds. It's a pleasant way of spending his time, and besides, it helps him with some of his schoolwork. You can learn quite a bit from hobbies. Here's Bill. Some of his leisure time is spent doing part-time work at the bookstore. Along with earning some spending money, he's getting experience that will help him later on. And Alice is devoting some of her leisure to learning to sew. That's something she'll be glad she did when she's older. And right now, she gets a big kick out of it.
Hi Chairman. Happy Pride Month.
Is it really a happy
Where are
Pride
the new
Month?
emotes?
Where are the new emotes? I don't have enough.
For your pride.
I don't have enough members for new emotes. Okay, we can't afford it. It's exceeded the library budget. We can't afford it. We can't afford the new emotes.
Not the one?
We could afford like the tomato one, I think. Is that here? That's not here yet, is it? Okay, let's pretend the stream hasn't started yet. Just everyone pretend like the stream hasn't started yet. Talk like you're still in pre-stream chat. But like, I wonder when he's gonna stream. I wonder where he's here. He's been late for 30
Happy Pride
minutes.
and happy birthday to the gayest straight man I've so far talked to.
I can't be the gayest straight man, right? There's no way. I don't know. I have not added the tomato. I'll add the tomato. Give me a second. I have fucking shit. Sorry, excuse me. I'm dumb.
Happy anniversary and birthday.
Well, that's not here yet.
What do you want for your birthday?
It's actually not the Charis Euphranor anniversary yet. That's in a little while. Oh my god, it's like a JPEG and not a PNG, and I haven't cut the background. Oh shit. Give me one moment. Give me a second. Let me just... Oh shit. Hang on. No, we've got it. We don't have it. We actually don't have it. We're not back. We're not back at all. We're doing that later. It's not here. Say goodbye to the emote. It's not happening. Or don't say hello yet to the emote. Say hello to it in like maybe like another day or two. Okay. Okay, what the hell are we talking about? Gay. That's what we're talking about. First things first, before we talk about that, I need to briefly explain why the stream was late. Stream's late because I spent so much time today doing shit, and including like watering plants and gardening and like moving shit and like mowing the lawn and like typing up files and then like video editing and then sound editing and then writing up messages to people that I haven't spoken to in weeks. And I was like, I'm getting into the gay mood. I gotta get into the gay mood by like, 9 o'clock stream time. And then it was like, well, it was my 9 o'clock, and at 8:15 I'm like, maybe it'd do me some good to just read a little bit more like Judith Butler before it begins. And then I just launched Discord because I'm like, I should probably launch Discord now that I've got some time. And then I realized, oh, I'm actually 15 minutes late already. Oh, so no, my Pride Month isn't going well and it's not very happy yet. So don't wish me a happy Pride Month. It's actually like a worse Pride Month than probably 10 years ago, before I really even thought about gay very much. Was there a Pride? Did we do Pride Month 10 years ago? We did, right? Yeah, I think we did. What did everyone say? Ugh. You're late, you're late, you're late. We're taking away all your rights. Yep, okay, all right. We're off to a great start. Okay, we're talking about the gender bend art. I saw that. I saw the gender bent fan art of me. Very cool. Thank you. I think
it's only 4 days into Pride Month. We can improve.
We can improve. I think it is. I think it's a little like. I think the portions are a little exaggerated, which I understand as the artistic interpretation of the piece. In which case, have at it. Go ahead. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's cool. It's kind of weird because it's like me, but it's not really me. Because I'm not a woman. I'm a man. I think I've been asking myself, like, would I be a woman? And then like every time it's like, like I think the idea is pretty cool, but then like in execution, it's like, it'd be very messy, and also like I don't need to because I feel kind of comfortable in my own body, which is pretty cool. Can't believe you hate the art. All right, yeah, that's the state of discussion we're in today. Yep. Oh.
Shut up, Charis. She is beautiful just the way she is.
Yeah, that's not what you guys are not hearing what I'm saying. I'm putting down. I'm saying it is really nice. That's all I'm saying. But like I don't look at like Chloe Grace Moretz and go like she's just like me for real, because she's not just like me for real. I think she's very pleasing to look at, and I think she expresses femininity in like a not in a cool way, but also like I'm a dude, so I'm kind of like she's great, love her, not me for real though. That's how I feel about the art. And I think that's like a very core part of Pride Month, is being able to celebrate the differences and the similarities. That's the whole that's the push and pull. That's the etymology of the word queer. Comes from strange, different, right? Is what it seems like. That's the etymology of it. Sorry, let me get through the messages and then we'll get into the main topic, which I'm already dipping my toe, each of my toes carefully into. When is your birthday? 8th of June. Why is it the same as your debut date? Well, it's because that's when I was born. Does that not make sense? That should make perfect sense. It's like the same day. VTubers who have different days from their debut to their birthday is weird, because you have 2 birthdays. No, you should have 1 birthday. That's the birthday. This is the birthday. It is also known as the debut anniversary, but that's like the same thing. These are the same things. Okay. What is your real birthday? Okay, no. You gonna ask my credit card number? I already answered that in a stream. Did you know I've already actually, I want to say in my first or second month of streaming, I've already answered the question, because I did my first AMA, and one of the questions was like, what's your credit card number, and I answered it. You can go back in there and like check it out and hear like a worse version of me that's less attuned to live streaming, but you can do that if you want. If not, then I'm not gonna repeat the answer, but I've already said it. When's Parrot's birthday? I don't know. I don't care. Happy Pride Month. Yep. I gifted more so you'll be able to add one. Yes, you did. Thank you, Hannah. You did. I remember that. I can add one more. I'll do it after stream because I forgot to turn the JPEG into a PNG. It's been a pretty shitty start to Pride Month. Have there been any like widely publicized like hate crimes? If not, then it's like, we can be a little grateful about that for the moment, I guess. Okay. What do you want for your birthday? I want what do I want for my birthday? I want Google ad monetization. That's what I want. That's what I want for my birthday. Yeah. What I want for my birthday is the ability to monetize my streams through Google's ad revenue. That's what I want. Did gender bend Charis have a... Yeah. The proportions were blown. Okay. Your parents visit. Why did you mow the lawn? I mowed the lawn because it was like the grass was too tall. That's why I mowed it. The best thing to do is play Sonic games. I've actually never played a Sonic game to completion, but I know all the Sonic songs by heart. So I guess I'm straight. Draw more gender bend art to bother me. It's not gonna bother me. It will not bother. It doesn't bother me. I just like. I think if I were me like 10 years ago, then I might feel a little. That might make me feel a little dysmorphic. But I'm like pretty secure in myself right now. I like to think I'm 60 after all. Like you only have so much time on this green earth that's soon gonna not be green anymore, but like you can't spend all that time worrying about your own body, right? Like you gotta spend the first like 30 maybe 40 odd years thinking about it all the time. Maybe like 20 if you're a quick thinker like me, right? You spend like the first 20 years thinking really hard about your body, and then you probably know somewhat, or like then you start getting comfortable with not knowing. It's one or the other, right? VA from King of the Hill got murdered in a vicious hate crime. Oh, fuck. I spoke very too soon. My condolences. I had no idea. For me, fucking hell. It really is. You know what? And that's why we're like talking about it, right? So it's like. Actually, yeah. Why are we doing this? What's the purpose of this stream? Why do we want like a straight man talking about gay? I don't know. Add that to the pile of cishet opinions, I guess you can. Imagine dysphoria with thick thigh. I mean, it's dysmorphic because it's like the proportions are a lot nicer than what I would imagined I would be if I were a woman. It's almost like too different, but it's also like, I don't know, I'm a VTuber, it doesn't matter. John Wayne, I'm sorry. I don't know why you're apologizing. I'm saying it's really good. It's just like too good that I'm like, this not me. Did you appreciate the meme I made for you in Discord? Which one? Let me see. Yes, I saw it. No, but like, I am part of the... I think the thing is like, my vibe is not like the, hey guys, when you say something is for the girls and the gays, can you include me in that as well? The girls and the gays and Charis Euphranor, if it's not too much trouble. Thanks, guys. That's not me, okay? I'm not like, hey, can I please be a part of this? That's not me, okay? I'm in the inside yelling and screaming and banging on the window like, let me out, let me out. I don't want to hear about periods again. I don't need these graphic descriptions. I get it. It's bad. I get it. Please. That's me. That's like, I'm actually, it's the other way around. So, but I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the meme. This is what happens when you're like the only guy in a theater class. Oh, please let me out for like a little bit. Like the Tetsuo me, a bit like that. Yeah, a bit like that. I think it's like it was probably one of the most uncomfortable times of my life that was uncomfortable in a good way, because there's like discomfort in a bad way that's like destructive, and there's discomfort in a good way that challenges you to grow as a person and become better. And that was the latter, I think, at that part of my life when I was scarcely male. It's the only way I could, scarcely cishet male. It's the only way I can put it. It's like, oh, that's what it feels like to be a minority. Okay, I'm getting it now. Anyways, okay. What are we doing? We're doing gay. Like Markiplier, I'm not a masochist. I just like testing my limits. That's like the whole.
Oh yeah, we definitely
part
forcibly
of the
feminized the guys in theater class. For their benefit, of course.
That's what they all said, yep. No, but it was also like, I wasn't feminized. I was actually like, it was like, it's weird because it's like, because I think there's a part of theater that embraces what I would associate with femininity. And the interesting part of that is that I wasn't encouraged to be feminized because I was already in the process of feminizing, you know what I was doing? I was performing woman. I was a man and I was performing being a man, but in performance, in the act of stage performance, I was performing woman, which is a Judith Butler term, because I'm very well read and educated on the gays, and the gender. I say as I put my arms up, like defensively. So I was actually masculinized because I was like, I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't, because I was already doing the feminizing myself, that the inverse reaction was like, okay, now we have to masculinize this guy in like the most uncomfortable and like a sort of, you know, well-intended way as possible. I don't know. Gaily educated straight man. Yeah, I guess you can say that. Yeah. The most snatched waist and study classes. Thank you. I think that's a compliment, especially this month. Yeah. Your ass did not read Judith Butler until 3 days ago. Wrong. My ass didn't read Judith Butler at all. I have not read like a single page of Judith Butler on my own that's not consumed through like a video essay. Okay, so I'm not real. So when you guys are like, oh, you should talk about Judith Butler, I can't, like, all I can say is like, you don't want me to talk about it because I haven't done the reading. Like, I'm showing up to the discussion group. I'm showing up to the session. I'm showing up to the book club having not read the book. I'm just trying to fill the gaps of silence with a haha hee hee funny joke that like sort of, and like direct the mood in a way towards something that's a bit less tense and stressful and more like playful and fun and like, you know, like approachable. Because right now I think that's also one of the bigger things is like it's not approachable enough. It's approachable. I think the general gay is has been made more approachable as of late than I want to say 20 years ago, right? To the person who is not gay. And I use gay in quotes because it's like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like, this is just the word I like to use to encompass everything. Because it's like, it's such a it would be a mouthful to recognize all of it individually. I want to put it all under one umbrella, which is, you know, sort of what the idea of the LGBTQ plus community is trying to do. I think that's interesting. I think it's cool. I'm going to do it my own way as well. I'll just call it gay. Okay. You know what I mean when I say gay with like the emphasis on the word. What you're saying is I did the reading and you didn't, and I'm gonna be covering your ass in the group project. No, I'll carry my weight in the group project. I'm just not doing the content.
Isn't that what you learn in a philo degree? Just pulling deep-sounding stuff out of our ass? Just spitting.
That's exactly what I learned, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Okay, word count of 12, 14. Okay, we'll add another one to that. So for part of your life, theater kids made you play a eunuch. I really don't think that ever went away. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like there's a part of me that's forever like the Euphranor, and like the U in Euphranor stands for eunuch actually. Like I feel like that's like it's never gone away. Every time I brought up with Judith Butler, you've been like, I don't know enough about her. Ooh, yeah, I don't even know enough to use the proper pronouns on them. Okay, that's how little I know about Judith Butler. It's like up until like 2 weeks ago, I wasn't even going by her like their proper pronouns because I don't know anything. I don't know. You just bring up like a femme sounding name in the context of a feminism discussion, and I'm like, well, okay, I'll read her later. You are literally Jinshi from Apothecary Diaries. You mean the anime that wasn't? You mean the anime that's like worse objectively than Solo Leveling because it has less awards? I know that one. I haven't watched it though, but I've been told that it's good. Can't be as good as Solo Leveling though, which I know is totally better and not at all contains any toxically masculine and kind of homophobic like subtext in the plot. No, it's just actually anime of the year. There's a mean gay and there's a nice gay. Nice gays are the Charis Euphranor chat. The mean gays are the twinks from Soho who body shame you when you're 5 shots in and it causes you to spiral. Yeah, there's mean gays out there that do that. I think it's like, it's such a like, you know what I mean? It's like when someone on your team is throwing. If someone on the enemy team is playing well, you kind of have to go like, well, they're like hitting all the shots. They're doing everything. Makes sense. We're playing a game and they're trying to win. So they would try really hard and they're really good. We can accuse them of hacking, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, got your ass handed to you. When your teammate starts inting and like fucking running it down, like, what do you do? What do you do? You're like, we're on the same team, man. You're fucking making it harder for me to fight for you. What are you doing? I don't know. It's fucking dumb. But whatever. People are fucking dumb. You see that 11-hour anime video where the guy said he watched 1,000 anime and had the most dog shit takes on all of them? That's funny. That's just every like video 11-hour anime video. God. Bridge version of Solo Leveling so much better. I imagine it's because like they're actually taking the piss out of the otherwise dog shit series, right? which inevitably, like taking a shit, taking the piss out of, taking a shit, taking the piss, of a dog shit series is always going to be better than the dog shit series itself. But at the end of the day, it's like, how many layers of parody and irony can we go through before it's like, we can all admit it's a waste of time and we should actually watch something better? When are we going to talk about kissing men? It's always about kissing men. It's always about yaoi. It's always about gays. Like, you know what? June should be like the... Oh god. I'm going to say this before, like, we transition screen. Like, June should be the one month where I don't have to talk about gay people. Because I talk about gays all the time, you know? I'm appealing to the male gaze. I am. And when I say that, I mean the homosexuals, not like the not like the vision. Not You chose the stream topic, that's true, but you have to understand that I'm appealing to the market trends because we live in, it's a dog eat dog world out here, and we have to take advantage of people's consumption habits in a market, and it's totally, absolutely 1000%, 1,000,000% compatible with queer
Lucky
thought.
is the only gay man here. I think. I don't know if I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
I think, like, probably, yeah. But you're all like kind of gay, so it's like
Chairman in June be like
yeah.
Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month _ chair heart : You have to earn that $20 some way.
I do, yeah.
So really you're aiming for the male gay, singular.
No, it's like the gays, you know? Like it's like all the gays out there, I think. I'm right here, please. There we go. We've got 2. Okay. Give me about 20 seconds. I'm gonna disappear for about like a minute. I'll come back and we'll do something. We'll do the thing. I saw lesbian and spirit and I read it as lesbian and spit and then I blanked out. Hi, we're back. Now we're gonna talk very seriously about this very serious topic of gay. Now we've done the, okay, you know what? Hang on, give me a little, okay. I forgot about the music as well. Gemini behavior. Typical Gemini behavior of not being prepared. Okay. What nation flag is that? Okay. First things first is you go away.
You
I
should
don't
see
want you
what
anymore.
Professor Lakatox has to say.
Oh shit, I literally sent you to jail the moment you had to do something. 1 out of 10 for the 20. Thank you, Lucky. Thank you, Lucky, for the 2. 1/10 of the way there. Sorry, I'll read supers in a little bit, but I think unless they're kind of like directly relevant to the discussion, in which case, you know, we can talk about it. But I do want to go a little bit into slight, not serious, but a more focused, laser focused discussion of what we have today. Because I'm not too interested in wasting too much time from people, considering the fact that this is probably going to have slightly higher visibility than part 2 of blueprints or whatever I usually do, which is like, you know, I guess a bit not as interesting. You're gonna play Born This Way by Lady Gaga? No. Could I do it? Is that how that goes? I don't actually remember how the song goes. I actually don't remember how that goes. Whatever. Remember like the real ally? His name is Parrot, and he has no rainbow on him. You think he's the ally? Come on. This is when the gay villain hijacks the TV broadcast. Yeah, I suppose it is. It's when this is the cishet man hijacking the LGBT on the LGTV to bring you news about things you already knew about. That was a really good sentence. That was off the dome. That was off the dome. It was. You think it'll do better than the male loneliness stream? No, I don't. Because VTubers who talk about men's mental health actually kind of rare. VTubers who talk about being gay is like every VTuber. Every VTuber is some kind of gay, okay? And if you're not, you're probably at least kind of queer. The nature of VTubing lends itself very well to queer theory and queer identity, like a queer idea, because like you are literally performing another character that's like not exactly a character in the sense of a film or like a play. You're sort of tugging and pulling with an idealized but sort of more liberated almost version of yourself that's like, it's not realistic, that's not really quite part of it, but it's an expression of yourself that's beyond just like the confines of how you were born or whatever. Like the dysmorphia that a lot of people who end up going into VTubing might sort of have, or at least a little bit, and I'm speaking from experience here, is very, very identifiable with like the dysmorphia that a trans person could have. And what baffles me is that there are like transphobic VTubers, because it's like the whole thing is kind of like a trans allegory, you know? Like it's kind of cool. I'm not trans, but like I kind of, you know what? By being a VTuber, I feel like I was like I'm at least one step closer to that perspective. Do you know what I mean? Would you kiss chat for $20? I wouldn't do it on stream. Wouldn't do it on stream. I feel like that'd be too much. I feel like that'd be too good for you if it was on stream. How gay would you get for $20? Probably as gay as I am now. I would probably... What's something I could do that's gayer? For $20? Let me think. I could probably... Probably just start talking about anime men for the rest of the stream. That's probably like the because I'm not going to. But I could do that. How about now? Thank you, Anna. You know what? We've already got like 2 out of the 5. We've got 2 out of the 6 colors in the flag already. It's funny. We already, you know what? We're building the pride flag 1 block at a time. No, but thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. I want to get into multiple things for this stream, right? It's not going to be serious like the other blank background streams I've done in the past, where I was really trying to offer like a genuine, very, very thoughtful, not really like, yeah, very serious take on very controversial issues. Whereas here, I'm actually, I'm probably more trying to offer some bit of levity to these, to the discussion topic I'm having today. Because I think there's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of, like, despair surrounding it already. And I think I think we have a pretty good understanding of it in, like, theory and in the development of our understanding of its theory and ideas. Like, I think we've got a good grasp of it. Whereas something like the male loneliness stream, I feel like people still didn't get it. They still didn't really quite. People generally don't quite get it. But it's been a few years and a few months. Yeah, it's gotten worse. But also, I think there's enough people who know enough about gay to talk meaningfully and intelligibly, intellectually about gay that I would be regurgitating. Because frankly speaking, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about this. I really don't, because I'm like, I spent a good amount of time wondering to myself, am I really a cishet guy? I don't know, though. Like, because I feel like I don't like performing masculinity sometimes in ways that, to me, seem as though they are nothing but destructive and harmful to my fellow, like, human being. And then I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I thought, yeah, okay. Makes sense. I like being a man now. Would you kiss chat in Discord? You guys need to, like, stop asking me incriminating questions. Why do you want a kiss from me? What would the point of that be? You want the validation? Are you seeking the, like, yes, I'm being validated in my being for my sexuality or my gender identity. What is it that you seek? I'm the genie in the bottle. I'm the genie in the lamp. After you rubbed me out, I shouldn't have said those words, but I with the genie in the lamp, and you're going like, I want a really good sandwich, and I'm saying, you've got 3 wishes, and that's what you spend one of your wishes on. Like, can you please rethink this wish? It's a bad idea. Is this chairman practicing rainbow capitalism now? No, but not yet. I was gonna say, I'll do it in a little bit. Or I'll dive into it a little bit. My BF is straight? Aren't you like a gay man? Isn't that what you said? It's interesting. That's really interesting. You know what? That's interesting. We could think about that. We actually talk about how Target's rainbow capitalism is now very toned down and almost completely beige to a concerning degree. Like, even if it was performative before, at least it was something. Yes, we can. I'm wondering when to get into it. I think I'll get into it in a little bit. Before we devolve into it, I suppose, right? I think it'll be the sort of second half of this discussion. You cute give me a dopamine boost. Well, it's the thing is, like, that's no good. That's no good. It'll fade. Like, fake virtual affection from your favorite VTuber will fade, but your ability to intellectually discuss and think about your own gender identity, I think, is probably a bit more valuable, and that's what I'm trying to offer you instead. We talk about the rise of transphobia as well. Yes, we can talk about that. I meant you when he said his PM was a straight man. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. How much for more than a kiss? What more? I'm already giving you more. I'm giving you so much more. This is some introspection on queer theory from a straight man perspective. Where are you gonna get that? Where are you gonna get meaningful, well thought out responses to queer theory from someone who's not gay? Where are you gonna find that? Because everyone who's gonna talk about it meaningfully and intellectually is probably gay, right? It makes sense, right? Like it makes sense, just as like how it's probably like you're probably most stuff that's worth listening to on feminism is probably from a woman like that, or like, you know, someone who is assigned female at birth. Like that's where that's like that would make sense. So the uncommon thing is a perspective that's not from there, that's nonetheless meaningful and adds to the discourse and the discussion. That's what I'm offering. I need to introspect. I'm bi. All right. Okay. So just a brief primer on the topics we're going through, because I said that about 10 minutes ago and then I totally went off track again because you guys keep distracting me. Stop distracting me. Well, you can continue to distract me if you give me money. That's cool with me though. The first thing we're going to talk about maybe is just gender identities in general, and kind of like the not like specifically research and studies of how queer culture and like the sort of wider acceptance of the LGBTQ plus community in both online spaces and offline spaces, whether or not that distinction is meaningful. That's like probably the first thing I'm gonna briefly go over. Then we're gonna talk a bit about rainbow capitalism. Okay, that's what we'll talk about next. And in this order, okay? So if I forget, someone remind me if that's what I'm saying now. Then we'll talk about why, like, my ability to be gay for like a month. Like, I could probably be gay for a month, right? Like, if you ask me really nicely, I could, like, but it's like, what would change? Not much. If I were gay for a month, my life would be completely indistinguishable from me right now as a straight man, okay? And then finally, we're gonna dive a bit into Phantasms and Philosophy Tube's video on her primer on Judith Butler's work, which I think is a really useful video and really a pretty fun one to watch. Promise? Okay, thank you for the blue, Hannah. What did I promise? I didn't promise anything. I haven't promised anything. Okay. You're giving me hope. Literally nothing would change. If I were a gay man, I would still be just as... Like, I would be yelling at you the same way I'm yelling at you now. Nothing would actually change if I was a gay man right now. Probably. No, actually, that's wrong. If I were a gay man right now, I would be way less careful because with what I say, because I'll kind of just feel it out. I'll be like, yeah, I'm gay. So like, I feel like I'm kind of an expert on being gay because I'm gay, you know, like that's probably what would happen. And actually what will result from this stream is probably an overall lower quality of discussion, because I think I have to intentionally try to be as concise and articulate my thoughts as well as I can to make up for the fact that I'm viewing this sort of from an outside perspective, but not really, like, you know. You need to deep dive into gay sex. I mean, like, I don't know if I need to, and I don't know if that's the way I would have worded it, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay. You said you could distract you if we sent you money. That's true. I didn't lie. You can. You're allowed to do that. When you say you could be gay for a month, what do you actually mean? I'll get into it in a bit. Hold your thoughts. We just watched the ContraPoints version of the Philosophy 2 video. We could, but like, I haven't watched the ContraPoints one yet. I'm sorry, I haven't. So we'll watch a brief part of the Philosophy 2 video. I'm gonna hope that Abigail doesn't copy strike me. And then I'm gonna talk about, like, I'm gonna react to the specific bit that interested me really. And then we'll discuss further. But first things first. You'd say all the slurs. No, I feel like if I were a gay man, I wouldn't say the gay slurs either. I just wouldn't be like, I think it would contradict like the way I see the world. So no, I don't think I would. But I'm not gonna impose it on other gay people who, you know, are sort of doing it in the spirit, in a playful and sort of reclamatory spirit. I wouldn't fault anyone for making that attempt. It's just, you know, I wouldn't. Distracted. Thank you for distracting me, Lackey. Thank you. Okay, enough. I gotta laser in. Okay, I gotta focus. And then you can distract me, okay? It's kind of like the I'm probably non-binary, but I have a job, so I don't really care about that right now. Real as fuck. Talk about serious issues? Yeah, so let's begin. Let's begin initially by a skit I watched recently. This is a skit by the channel Man Carries Things, I think. Man Carrying Things is the title, is the channel name. And the title was like Pride Month in 2015 or Pride Month Capitalism in 2015 versus Pride Month Capitalism in 2025. That was the skit. It was pretty funny. Had a pretty good chuckle, and then I got really depressed, and then I got a chuckle again. The gist of the skit is 10 years ago, there was a lot of flamboyant gayness that's come out of, you know, certain megacorps and big businesses that were like, hey, fellow queers, we're gay too, and we love celebrating gay. Buy our limited gay merch now. Buy our limited gay washing up liquid. Buy our limited gay soap. Buy our gay orange juice, if you will. And it was like very much obviously an appeal to those who are in the LGBTQ plus community, not as a validating experience, but ultimately as like as a potential like piggy bank, like a customer. This is someone to wring dry, but not in a way that is sexually gratifying, but in a way that's like all your money is gone because you spent it on the insanely overpriced and unfairly traded products that we sell, right? So the idea is we don't like that. We don't like, when I say we, I mean, you know, like it's an inclusive we. I'm gonna pretend like I'm part of this for a second, okay? Let me cosplay. Generally we don't like that. Or no, I don't have to cosplay because it's like I don't like this as a straight man. Never mind. Sorry, I'm gonna take that back. We don't like this because it feels like a gross faux representation of queer communities. We don't like that. It's like it's gross, and it takes advantage of capitalistic systems trying to make a quick buck by pretending to be gay, and it feels facetious and disingenuous because like it's that meme where like June 31st, we have 30 days, 31 days in the month, 30 days, June 30th, and it's like rainbow, and then July 1st, and it's like, I don't know, it's something homophobic. Like that's the meme, right? The joke is like, oh, the moment it's July, it's like you're not, like they're straight as fuck now, they're heteronormative as hell now. Like that's the idea. And we like to refer to this phenomenon because it's so widespread. We like to refer to this as rainbow capitalism. I can't believe I had to check the title of my stream for a second to reconfirm what the hell I was talking about. We like to call this rainbow capitalism. We call it rainbow capitalism, and that kind of succinctly captures our frustrations with it, which is the fact that a lot of what instigates or perpetuates this oppression in this capitalistic society, which, you know, punishes anyone who's not a heteronormative or like a cishet male, essentially, right? You know, in a broader understanding of things, but you this is sort of like a Western perspective as well. You can involve more globally minded perspectives and start to think about different countries and cultures of people and how they see gay communities. But for this discussion, because what I've been educated on and informed on is primarily contemporary Western society, that's my focus. But, you know, that's not to say that it is the focus, okay? Volkswagen, Saudi Arabia in June be like. Yeah, that's exactly it. And yeah, the other thing that's frustrating and clearly disingenuous is that these companies who will put on the pride flag and who will celebrate diversity and queerness and gay will not do that for certain countries that lean more conservatively and are a bit more hostile towards queer ideas and queer theory and like non-heteronormative, cis-heteronormative gender identities. The point is, they're not gay because they're not proudly announcing that they're gay accepting because they want to accept the gays. They are proudly announcing with pride, you know, they're proudly announcing that they are gay because it is profitable. Okay, that's the key point. Is they're doing this, it's just because it makes them more money, and that's the bottom line, and it's just a deeper symptom of capitalism itself. Rainbow capitalism isn't different from like, you know, standard vanilla capitalism, if you want to call it, you know, you see what I'm trying to say, right? It's not like a different thing. It's just, it's a symptom of the big thing overall. It's just it's under the umbrella, you know. It's just another problematic aspect of it under the same umbrella. Gay for pay, hell yeah. We'll get to how I feel about that on an individual level in a little bit, but you know, we're talking about the megacorp perspective. Okay? Anyways, this is the 2015 like Pride, 2025 Pride, and this is again largely an American-centric perspective because we all know like the sun revolves around the world revolves around the US the same way the sun revolves around the earth, right? So we all know that, right? But 2025, in this sort of increasingly hostile environment for the gays, has made it so that it's actually just not profitable, or companies have decided. And I don't want to say speculation, but my thinking is that it's because they've decided it's not profitable, but they've decided not to be as vibrantly rainbow and colorful as they once were every June. You know what? Being gay in these times, we can't afford that. We just can't afford that. It's not worth it. It's not, the profit margins are low, and that's what matters, right? Is making money, and you make less money being gay now, so let's not be gay now. Rainbow washing or pink washing. Yeah, that's like a good alternative way to phrase it as well. Anyways, this observable shift in recent history is concerning. I would argue it's concerning for just anyone in general, but that may not be a popular argument. The more popular argument may just be that it's detrimental purely for the gays. In the same way that I think the patriarchy inflicts or like oppresses women and men. It's just that women are primarily at the brunt of it. The same I see with the rampant increased hostility towards queerness and queer identity being bad for everyone. Because it's not just that I'm straight, I'm cishet, I'm a cishet man, so I'm okay with it. Like it's a problem for all of us. It's a fucking problem for all of us, which is really the only reason why I even feel like remotely justified in talking about it, because it's like, this shit is affecting me too. I say as a straight man. I know what it sounds like. I know. Give me a break, okay? And please let me get to my point. And then you can like yell at me for being privileged or whatever. Like, that's fine. That's okay. I can accept that. About breaking out of the Euro mold, I've heard from my Chinese friends that in China, gay men are more accepted than gay women because society is so sexist. Interesting. Interesting. Not much I don't have any comments on that beyond it's interesting how the patriarchal problems are so intertwined with clear problems that like we kind of can't think about them separately. Or rather, what may be interesting from that is in Western thought, we tend to separate them, even though they're so clearly intertwined. Isn't it also in the West? It is, but like I think there's always the temptation to separate issues rather than to conjoin them together or talk about them in an interdisciplinary way. I understand it's obviously this is one of the few things or the few topics or areas or fields that this doesn't happen in, or that this is less of an issue, because feminism and queer theory have such a huge overlap. I'm just calling it queer theory because I don't know what else to call it, but if there is like, if you know what else to call it, tell me in the comments, right? But I think that's probably like the way to call it. This overall umbrella of stuff. And we see that in the J.K. Rowling's, we see that in the general, like the TERFs, that there is a division, but largely speaking, it's sort of like, we're all helping each other out here, right? The gay science, real as fuck. It has nothing to do with being gay, though, unfortunately. Will I read the gay science sometime? Maybe, but not now. I don't have any now plans. Sucks how in the west coast of the US, there have been more attempts on pride parades in the last 2 years. It is difficult, and I think it's been the core of the problem is what we'll get into later. The core of the problem is what Butler writes in what PhilosophyTube in her video essay, which is what I consumed. So like I didn't do a lot of research. Okay, in her video essay explains as the idea of the phantasm, which we will get into. That's the crux of it, which I think is an educational issue as well, because I always got to find a way to make it about me. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Hold on. What am I trying to say? Yeah. Now I've said many times in the stream today, and I'll probably have to say it till the rest of time because it just doesn't seem very obvious, but I am like a cishet guy who is very comfortable in my cishetness. I feel no desire to express myself any differently than I do right now on live streams and in VTubing in general. There's a very clear acceptance of diversity, and I don't make it part of my branding, but I make it a part of my identity, because I think it runs counter to the broader philosophical my broader philosophical approach to streaming and to being an aspiring educator and just being a VTuber, I guess. It goes against that to not be inclusive, so I kind of have to be. I'm kind of like locked in here with all of y'all. It's unfortunate. But like I kind of have to be inclusive. Like it wouldn't make sense for me not to be, but I don't try to brand it as such. And in my opinion, that's the way to do it. I'm a little biased here, because that's what I'm doing. But like, that's like the way to do it. It's not to publicly announce that I'm so accepting and diversity so awesome and we need we need a bunch of gay people on this job. Gay people need to run the airplanes. You know, like it's not like whatever the hell. Queer advocates are actually like it's not whatever they're advocating sounds like to people outside of it, is what I wanted to say. I'm a bit clumsy with my words today. I'm a bit tired. You'll have to excuse me. But, you know, my approach is to just be sort of relatively, like, you know, low-key about it. But not in a way that's, like, to avoid controversy and confrontation, but in a way to present it authentically and without, well, it's seeming like it's pandering and without it actually being pandering. Because there's two problems, right? The two problems with me being a cis het man ever. Those are the only two problems, by the way. I have no other problems. No. But the two problems are that I have to, that people might misunderstand me as virtue signaling or trying to appeal to people through performative virtue. And the fact that I'm doing it, right? So there's two things, right? One, my authenticity needs to break through. My authenticity needs to break through the first barrier, that is, yeah, like I'm actually not homophobic or transphobic. Like I actually am accepting and inclusive of people. And two, that my inclusivity is not for any like ulterior means and is not therefore manipulative or disingenuous in any way. So it's got to be like, it's got to tackle these two things. And the solution to that, in my opinion, is not to go around yelling that I love all the gays. You know, it's more just incorporating it into my manner of speech, into the ideas of and my topics of discussion. It's to just nonchalantly going like, all right, those are your pronouns, fucking whatever, dude, I don't care. In the way that's like, all right, sure, that's your name. Like, I don't have much thought to it. That's like my approach. That's my approach and that's my idea. So when I say, okay, it's Pride Month, it's time to talk about gays, I also have to confront this difficulty in presenting myself authentically, because how do you know I'm not just cashing in on the hype of being gay right now in Pride Month, and that I'm actually instead trying to have a discussion now that it's sort of timely again, on specifically issues within it that I think I have some interesting thoughts on. Like, how do I do that? There's another barrier, and all I can say to all of the above, and this is from my own perspective, right, as the VTuber here and the person doing the live streaming, is you just gotta trust me, man. You just gotta trust me, bro. You just gotta trust that I'm not being extra gay today for $20, even though $20 is $20. You kind of have to trust me on this, that I do have something to say that's meaningful, and that's the most important thing. And it's not just a byproduct of me trying to, you know, my $20 is $20. Okay? Hopefully that all made sense. A summary of what I just said may be that before we begin, and I'm saying this an hour into the live stream, before we truly dive into the discussion, you have to trust my authenticity. You kind of have to. And if it turns out in like 10 years I was actually secretly homophobic all this time, then you can you know, you can throw eggs at my house. I think that that's fine. But we did give you $20, right? So it's like, how do you know that I'm not trying to appeal to my audience that would identify with themselves as being part of the LGBTQ plus community? How do you know I'm not pandering? How do you know I'm doing the stream because I'm specifically, like, I actually do think I have some things that I think are interesting to say about this? And all I have to say to that is like, yeah, you can't know. You can't know for sure. You can't know. Approaching queerness as a normality is much rarer than approaching it as a marketing strategy. Strategy. It is. It is rarer, and the reason it's rarer is because it doesn't pay as well as approaching it as a marketing strategy, and ultimately, everyone's got a bottom line somewhere. You know? Because we all care about money because money buys you stuff. If you don't buy stuff, you can't. And it's not just because it buys you stuff. It's also because like you gotta pay rent, you gotta pay bills, you gotta pay off your student loans, you gotta fucking pay off your mortgages, you gotta like buy a car, you gotta pay for driving lessons, you gotta fucking pay taxes for all the money you don't earn. You gotta like pay your Hoyoverse tax by topping up on fucking Stellar Jades or whatever. Like there's a lot of shit to spend money on, and so the bottom line is very apparent and always going to be more popular than just going like, yeah, it's just like queerness is queerness. It is what it is, man. What I'm trying to say is, while it may be true, or maybe another thing I'm trying to say, right, is while someone may truly be authentically accepting and inclusive, they may still choose to virtue signal and to brand themselves as accepting and inclusive because there's a profit motive, there's a money motive, like there's a financial incentive to do that. And while I think it's possible for someone who truly is genuinely accepting and inclusive to market and brand themselves exclusively, I don't know if I want to say I have a bone to pick with them, but I don't feel very comfortable with the idea myself personally, even if I were gay and I'm not. To really just loudly go like, yeah, we love Pride. I love celebrating Pride. It's awesome. I love gay people. It's like, this should go without saying. This should just be like who I am. Why do I have to like talk about it so much? I just don't think it's very interesting to repeatedly say the words I am accepting and inclusive when what's more important is actually being that and proving it, especially, and here's the thing, especially through decisions that will not just not benefit my bottom line, but will hurt my bottom line. An example is when I talk about the male loneliness epidemic, I am like turning off like, well, now it's like 50%. Is it 50% of my audience? Like 50% of my audience who are women. I'm not turning, like, as in, like, you're kind of naturally a bit turned away when I go, like, hey, did you guys know that, like, men struggle too? At the time, it was like 78% women were my viewership. So doing, like, a stream that's like, hey, we should talk about male mental health is fucking disastrous. And it's not only that I don't have a profit motive to do it, I actually have a profit motive to not do it. Like, I'm fucking bleeding money. This shit is not gonna pay off. And then you add on top of that the possibility that I'm inviting like extremist bigots into my channels, like a bit less savory than it actually is. But I think that's what separates authentic diversity and inclusiveness with fake bullshit, or at least exaggerated, marketable inclusivity. You still get bigots in the vid? No, people don't watch it anymore. It's fine. It's like it's gone. They probably don't have the attention span for it either, so it's okay. I think everyone's gone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. All right, that's the first bit. I think roughly is and you can extrapolate from my views on this just now from an individual perspective. How I feel about presenting myself and branding myself as queer friendly, which I am evidently doing in this stream, right? Versus just kind of implicitly going like, yeah, people be gay. And the complicated emotions that come into it. And, I want you to really think about what I was thinking about, I guess. I want you to get into my headspace a little bit. Why I'm choosing to loudly scream, "Hey, gays," with the really vibrant and loud thumbnail juxtaposing my sort of my idea that it should all be more just integrated into me rather than be a walking marketable neon sign, which I just have an incredible distaste for, frankly. Let's see, where are we? There's also the "you love pancakes, you hate waffles" type viewers. So if an influential person doesn't say "I love gays," some might think "so you hate them." Yeah, but they're dumb. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but like that's right. I think a big part. That's why I think a big part of my content has to be inherently in some ways educational, because part of my educative aim is for the pancake waffle people to realize that doing the pancake waffle is insane and ridiculous, and to invite some, and hopefully to encourage them to invite some nuance in their lives and something to chew on and think about. I think streaming about male loneliness epidemic and gay pride gives people an idea of what you're about, though. Hopefully in time. I think it's gonna take time, but yeah. I think it's interesting from an ecological perspective. Oh, hi Fi, hello. Your ecosystem might not need the loud support, but I wonder if there are audiences who could really use it. Yes, and so that's thank you for saying that. Maybe people, i.e. people who might be closeted. Thank you for saying that, because this leads into me going back into I was gonna say gay capitalism. Sorry, rainbow capitalism. But or rather something that's a little spicier, because so far I've been saying rainbow capitalism bad the same way I like to always say capitalism bad, and we all are probably very tired of lukewarm opinions from the so-called philosopher VTuber. I get it, I understand. There's a really interesting article I read recently that actually sympathizes with rainbow capitalism. It was published, let me look it up right now, because I didn't prepare, because I was like half an hour late to stream because I didn't realize it would start so soon. Yes, it is an article I read somewhat recently as well, because, you know, I suppose it's timely, right? It was published in 2021, so not as sensitive to current socio-political climate. But it's titled "Before You Rain on Rainbow Capitalism." Okay, I read this recently. Before you rain on rainbow. I can send I'll send the link out for anyone who wants to read it as well. Let me just put it here. You can go through like a quick skim of it as well if you want. Does it make the argument that rainbow capitalism was good in the way that it provided public acceptance of gay people? Well, yeah, it's you oversimplified some of it, but essentially, yeah, essentially. Let me read the key part of this that I think is like the interesting, or the bit that I can talk about. And it's interesting that it was written too, because you can tell it's a very like Westocentric, is that the word, I hope, perspective on the matter as well, which I think is really interesting. It's like the third last paragraph. If an app changing color is enough to bolster the hope of a gay boy in the Middle East or a trans woman in South America, that is a small win that we should first accept rather than shun completely. I doubt that many queer communities have the luxury of being selective about the support they choose to receive. And then I guess the paragraph after that, right? Once again, I'm not refuting the very valid argument that these establishments should dive beyond surface level stunts and strive for tangible changes and consistent commitments. I'm not advocating that we should ultimately settle for less, because clearly these purported allies have the capacity to actuate so much more support through donation, employment, and legislation. That's the bit that I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. We can talk about that. Thanks for the source. You're welcome. I mean, I just pulled up an article that I read the other day, and it's like it's an interesting article because I don't think it's that simple. I really don't think it's that simple, which is maybe my spicy opinion. Because like, you know, it's tempting to just go like, no, it's bad, and to sort of get into the socialist perspective in response, particularly that which is, I think, like, according to my very limited scope of research, which permeates in Judith Butler's writing, but is not very much like super on the surface obvious. That makes sense. Rather have rainbow capitalism than brown Nazi capitalism. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. And you know, it's at this point that I think it's interesting because, you know, we talked a bit about the skit and like how 2015 was like, wow, we love pride and gay people are awesome, is like how the companies were presenting themselves. This article is written in 2021 in defense of this. And, you know, maybe at its time, you can understand, and maybe even now, you can understand some sort of like hostility towards any sort of sympathy for rainbow capitalism, because we understand, because we see it from the bottom line perspective, right? And now in 2025, the big 25, all of us are looking at that and thinking, ah, shit. Maybe can we get that back? Can we have 2015 rainbow capitalism back? I miss it. You know, it was probably a little better than what we're going through right now, which kind of sucks. Right? Like there's a huge, almost like at this point, we're like, we'll take what we can get. Actually, we didn't realize how good we had it. Please give that back at least. Because like, I can't believe it got worse. And it's so interesting because from one perspective, you can think of it as like, okay, it's like rainbow capitalism was progress, albeit very little. It was like maybe they needed to take 10 steps and they only took like 2, and they were proudly announcing that they were taking steps, and we're like, fuck you, don't virtue signal the 2 steps you're taking. Why don't you take the 10 steps instead? You know, like that's what we were thinking. That's what I was thinking at the time. And then now they're like taking like, they went from taking 2 steps to like half a step and kind of quietly like going like, hey, by the way, we're like, you know, taking half a step. Hope that's cool. And then they're only saying that in select countries, and it's just like, now what do we do? Now do we go like, please go back to taking the 2 steps? Like at least that will be 2 steps. Because at this point, it's like, why would you ask them to take all the steps? Why would you even think that? It's impossible. It's a gloomy, more depressing view of the socio-political climate in relation to pride acceptance that I think is that marks this year's Pride Month differently from the other years, from the other Pride months that have come. And honestly, the reason why I thought, yeah, you know what, I should do a stream talking about this, because this is an interesting observation. I think this is worth thinking and talking about, even if it's, once again, probably, much like most of the shit I say, very obvious. It's just putting it into perspective makes it a little easier to think about. Wasn't the gayest stream Vampire Therapist the class of 09? No, but this is like explicitly gay, right? Like those were like implicitly gay. Because I've got like the flag and everything. It's up there. It's on the wall. Like it's like, wow, look at the gays. You know, you see the push and pull, right? That I'm sort of getting at. Are you sizing up and coming out? No, I'm just trying to like, you know, because it's hard. Because you know what the thing is, like, I could, like, what am I gonna say? Like, you people, like that's gonna be terribly taken out of context. The fact of the matter is, as a cishet man, right? Like a lot of my reading and understanding comes from thought and perspectives that are queer perspectives, and it's like I have to juggle what is my thought and what is like thought I've synthesized from people, and then I have to give them credit because it's like not my own thoughts. Not that I have any original thoughts, but you know, The idea of ecological thinking is that not all communities have to abide by the same strategies. There should be middle ground spaces that are comfortable for a diverse range of ideologies. Not all communities have to abide by the same strategies. There should be middle ground space. I want to think about that for a little bit. Not all communities have to abide. Okay. Yeah. I like that. I think that's an interesting way to approach the dilemma right now. So right now I've set up the problem, right? I've set up the big kind of issue. Suppose what I'm saying is that rainbow capitalism can exist alongside a more quiet support environment. Yes, yeah. That's like, you know what? I think that's pretty much my approach to the matter. Very close, at least, to pretty much what I wanted, like my conclusion of the stream. So it's interesting that we're on the right track. We're on the same track of mind, I suppose. But I just spent maybe the past 20, 30, 40 minutes setting up the problem. The problem right now is that in the big 2015, all right, in the big 2025, we've been stepping back, that we're like, you know what, the 2 steps forward is, can we have that back, please? That we'd rather have that is the problem. That's the problem, is like, it's not even about settling for little. It's just like, please at least give us the small, tiny amounts of crumbs that we can have, because like, it's not even slowly, it's rapidly getting shittier and shittier and deteriorating at a rate that enables dangerous shit like hate crimes, you know, all of that. Okay. So now what do we do? Okay, now we talk about me being gay for a month. Faya sort of like pointed pretty much to the overall bigger conclusion in a way that's much more articulate than what I could have said through this ecological thinking that I wasn't coming from, but at the same time makes perfect sense to me. Now we're coming to how the fact that I could be gay for a month. Because, and it's sort of a play on words as well, on the ideas, roughly the idea of Judith Butler's understanding of gender as performance, or was it performative? One of the other words. It's a key, very important distinction that I can't for the life of me make. I keep jumbling them up, right? But the point is, I perform maleness. I perform not just masculinity, but like, you know, the maleness in itself, the very thing. There's no like, as opposed to, my performance is just part of me existing, as opposed to the idea that there's like a interior subjective self that is ungendered, and there's like a pure soul in me that has no gender and no sexuality and nothing, and it's just like my pure self that's being filtered through the rainbow lens or just, you know, the straight lens. Is there like a pride flag for straight people? That's probably the dumbest thing you'll hear from me this stream. I apologize. Anyways, that inherently in being, we are performing gender, and we're doing it all the time. We're doing like gender. Performance theory of gender? Yeah, kind of. That's the way I understand it. And this is coming from me having read 0 pages of Butler. This is from very minimal research done on people saying things about Butler. So again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Which then, I think, I want to keep that in mind. Competitive gender MMR. I gotta raise that. I'm on low elo right now. But what is the harm or the benefit of me, not just like people, but me specifically? Because again, this stream's about me, because everything's about me, right? What are the pros and cons of me on the 4th of June going like, hey, Pride Monthers, here's a big ass rainbow flag, and here's me spending a whole stream explicitly talking about Pride Month and, you know, recent history of it, my thoughts and how I feel about it, and how I feel about gender identity and things in general, especially considering I don't know shit. It's especially considering the fact that I majored in philosophy. I have like 2 philosophy degrees and 0 gender studies degrees. I didn't do that shit. I did like 1 course on feminism, on feminist philosophy, and that's it. And then I spent like time discussing with people, which naturally included, because the institution that I was at, which I will not tell you, had a relatively diverse and inclusive set of students. And so this is just, I talked to, this is like, what is this stream? What's the alternate title for the stream? Cishet man talks about being gay based off of nothing but like several conversations with people who are that's the like alternative title, maybe. Yeah, and also Butler is like notoriously difficult to read, even from my fellow librarians. That is to say, philosophy majors. For the sake of the stream, I have to be a bit clearer, right? Even to like other philosophical thinkers around me, they still kind of go like, Butler is very difficult to read. Their prose is very like annoying and difficult to chew at, is what one of my friends said. What business do I have talking about this? Well, I hope that the previous bit has illuminated why I felt it was interesting to talk about. But if not, I want to get into, and you know what? I can't do anything except pull it up and show you. I hope I don't get copy struck. But I want to show you one bit of the Philosophy Tube video that I think really, that it connected to me. Let me look it up. Philosophy Tube, Judith Butler. Okay.
Judith Butler.
Oh God, please. Okay. Where are we? Where are we? Yes, here we are. I think. Let me put you on this for a little bit. Is he getting okay, you know what? Fuck it, whatever. It's important enough for the stream that I think it's like, I have to do it anyways. Otherwise, what I'm talking about doesn't make sense. I need to give this context. Where are we? Here we are. Taking 0 courses running purely on vibes. Yeah, but like, you know. My vibes may be a little... okay. Even reading it for class, knowing that I had to, was difficult. I thought it was above my pay grade. Yeah, it's like, that's Butler. So glad I have other people who are more well-versed in the philosophy of gender explain things to me, because, like, God forbid I put all that work into thinking about it.
The language that the anti-gender movement uses
I think it's like
is
here,
very actiony, threat, infiltration, danger, bullying,
I don't actually remember where
silencing,
exactly I
censorship,
wanted to begin,
a
but it's like
comparison
around
to
here.
nuclear weapons. It's not just that they're not listening. When they're invited to listen,
Yes.
it seems like that makes them feel as if they're under attack. And Butler has an explanation for this. They say that these people are caught in a phantasm. Phantasm is a technical philosophy term for a particular way of misinterpreting,
Which I honestly wish I came up
by
with,
projecting
because
your
it's such a cool
feelings
idea.
onto it. Philosopher Michael Nass says that it's a prism that refracts an as-if into an as-so. For example, The presence of a trans person with a penis in a public bathroom makes me feel as if I am under attack becomes I am under attack. People use phantasms to avoid cognitive dissonance in the face of anxiety. For example, literature professor Darren Tenev says we use them to help us confront death. Normally, we don't want to think about our own deaths. It makes us anxious. So when we picture our own funerals and what we
If
would
this
want
part
to
of the stream
happen
gets
to our remains,
copy struck, then
we
I'm going to
imagine
mute
ourselves as being
it.
gone, but
So
also
I'm just
kind of
prefacing
still
that.
around. Like, oh, I'd love to be buried somewhere.
You can find the
as a
Philosophy
nice
2 video
view.
yourself, I'm very sure.
Well, why? You're not going to be there to enjoy it. By definition, that's a contradictory dream. But the phantasm contains that contradiction and soothes our anxiety. It is as if I will still be there. I will still be there.
What is characteristic of phantasms is that they are placed, and place what could be called the subject of phantasm, on both sides of a border, a boundary, a limit, a frontier. When there is a border, a limitation, the phantasm lets one on the other side, and not only provides a contraband access through the border, but also keeps one on both sides at the same time. There is no logic of the phantasm. The phantasm is phantasm because it allows one to stand on both sides of a border. For example, allowing one to imagine one's own corpse while still being alive.
Like he says, there's no logic to this. It's an exercise in trying to not make sense because you can't handle the conclusions that you would reach if you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people caught in a phantasm will throw out all kinds of claims that it doesn't really seem like they've thought through or have any evidence for, and when questioned on it, they'll say, "You're attacking me," because they're trying really hard to not think something. But what exactly? What is the thing that the anti-gender movement doesn't want to think? Well, it'll probably be different for different individuals. J.K. Rowling has been massively radicalized into...
and I can skip ahead here. I think which is the bit she should have concluded it. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. If you can watch the full video if you want by yourself, it's a much better video than this stream. So like you should just watch that instead. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing, but yes, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
And the feminism of fools. And the anti-colonialism of fools.
The anti-gender movement is so effective in attracting mass support because it is structured and legitimized as a conservative response to the excesses of neoliberalism. A crucial source of anxiety is the rampant individualism of contemporary culture, the erosion of community and growing instability of everyday life. Opponents of gender ideology attribute these trends to the influence of feminism and the sexual revolution. Anti-genderism conflates gender with those aspects of capitalism that are most frustrating to members of the working and lower middle class, especially to parents and would-be parents: precarity and the crisis of care resulting from unequal distribution of wealth. Instead of naming the problem in economic terms as injustice and exploitation, anti-genderism presents the world of capitalism's winners as degenerate and morally corrupt.
And here's where we tie it all together.
It's not where I tie it all together, but that's where she does, so whatever. I think there's a bit at the end. I don't remember where, so I'm not going to scrub through it because it's like an ending bit. But essentially, she sort of ends with the notion that part of what makes the struggle so difficult is the core of the problem is how the hell do you rationalize with irrational people, I guess? How do you reason with those that do not want to be reasoned? Because that's the core of it, the core of the phantasm. That's captured in the concept of phantasm. You know what? Let me come back to the gay screen. Here we are. And here's where my light bulb sort of popped when I watched this video when it came out. When was this? It came out a year ago. Yeah, actually a year ago. Just a year ago, right? This is when the cogs in my head started spinning. I was like, holy shit. I went from oh, this is a cool, interesting thing to think about, for something that's totally like kind of irrelevant to me, or not totally irrelevant, but like mostly irrelevant. Again, because I'm like a cishet male, right? Because I'm like, this is kind of irrelevant, but I've got, you know, friends who would probably appreciate me being informed of this. I guess I have to watch it out of obligation. Is like kind of my thought process as I was going into it. But as I'd come out, I was like, or I'd come out of the video, and especially it was the bit with the phantasms, right? That's what really struck me as like, okay, I understand the scope of the issue now. I see why this is something I should be thinking about, not just like sometimes, but like this is almost like I've had to realign my thinking in a way to incorporate this into the core of what I'm trying to do, because it's not just about the gays anymore, you know. It's not about you guys. I'm sorry, it's not about all of you anymore. It's about me too. Yes. No. But it's no longer just about Pride Month and the LGBTQ plus community. That is the crux of the issue. That is very much like, you know, hateful and destructive and violent and cruel. But it gets at this thing that is just in itself, in my opinion at least, one of the core aspects of the rising and rampant anti-intellectualism, the rising, the increasing shift in, well, we're free, like, we can agree to disagree, or you're free to think your thoughts and I'm free to think my own thoughts, and you can vote for your person and I can vote for my person, and if my person wins, then I guess my person is right all along. It's like it's so succinctly captures that on an individual level, the Phantasm. That's what I love about it. It's such a cool, and it also is just like it the imagery is cool as well. It helps that Abigail Philosophy Tube was slaying so hard in that outfit, and that like the costumes she wears for the whole video is like so good. It helps there too, but the concept of the Phantasm was what really hooked me in, I suppose. But you know, to summarize what Abigail Philosophy Tube just said, the Phantasm is this way that people cope with the cognitive dissonance of irrational thought, because they cannot reconcile with and deal with their inner anxieties about the world that come from things like rampant capitalism, from unchecked neoliberal like economic practice, like, and all those things. But they don't want to, because they still want to hold on to the things that they were brought up to believe, or some of the, at least most of the things, that in order to accept this new information that contradicts it, all they can do is just forego the rationality in them, and to proudly do so, almost in a justifiable sense, because, you know, they don't want to feel stupid either. They don't want to think, oh, well, I just don't get it, and that's why we disagree in the opinions, is because I'm stupid. No one wants to think that. No, they want to think we disagree, because, and then they'll say anything. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just, the point isn't that it doesn't make sense. The point is that this comforts them and alleviates and soothes the anxiety in them, which stops them from being willing to accept new information that allows them to see the world, I want to say more honestly, but maybe that's not the, well, I'll say it, like, more honestly, right? That's so interesting, because what comes out of this is, you know, Abigail's own conclusions, but what I've gathered out of this as well, that I have to sort of tell you now, because you're here and you're stuck with me for maybe another like 30 minutes. I don't know how much more I'll go on on Pride Month stuff. But one of the conclusions you kind of have to bring from it is that it doesn't, at least in order to affect those who are hostile and angry and violent and hateful and bigoted, and oppressive, it's not enough to just say you're wrong. It's not enough to just point out their contradictions in thought. It's not enough to tell them, okay, but like people in your life are gay. Or it's not enough to, it's not enough to give them facts about the world that contradict their mistaken beliefs because of the phantasm. You can't rationalize, you cannot reason with an unreasonable person. And this person is not unreasonable like because they're born without the capacity to reason. No. It's because in order to cope with the anxieties of, contemporary neoliberal society, they have developed this thing that we refer to as the phantasm, as a deflective shield, as a soother, as a comforting thing that rejects all of this. You can't talk your way through that. You cannot talk to someone who has plugged their ears in. No, it's like talking to a rabid animal. I want to stop you there because I understand your sentiments and frustrations, but I wouldn't say it like that. I don't think that's fair, because the thing with talking to a rabid animal is you can't talk to a rabid animal. It's like, as we understand them at least, and as you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I just have, all I have is philosophy degrees, okay? But like, you can't reason with animals, rabid animals, but like, and there's no hope in communicating with them, at least meaningfully in the limited amount of time given their lifespan and our lifespan. I think that paints a very doomer mindset in how we approach these people who are, phantasming themselves, or like, subject to that. And sort of portrays it as like a hopeless situation. It's not a hopeless situation. It just seems like it because you know why? Because it's a philosophical issue. It's at its core. It's all about me, isn't it? It's always been about me. At the core of it is it's a deeply philosophical issue. Because it seems contradictory. How do you talk to someone who doesn't want to be talked to? How do you reason with someone who can't be reasoned with? It's not like to say that, okay, well, we can't reason with them, therefore we should do something else, like get rid of them, because I think that leads into dangerous thought. I don't want to say it's unjustified because I can see where you would go, but you know what? One of my friends said this about, not this topic, it was another topic, but I loved the way he said these words, so I'm going to repeat it to you, and he doesn't watch these streams anyway, so he'll never know that I'm stealing it from him. But perhaps this can extend itself into a genealogy of war and conflict, this idea. Like, from this we can even see how conflict happens, how war happens. It's because we have given up on our fellow human beings as people we can reconcile with, not just reason with, because reason with is like it sort of involves this procedure of talking and rationality and facts about the world that the phantasm is deflecting or is able to wash away. No, in saying that, or rather in resigning when presented this philosophical issue and going, you can't reason with them, there's no talking to them, it's over. Well, what are you saying? Are you saying that all that's left is bloodshed, conflict, armed resistance? Because that could be the case. But I wouldn't so hastily jump to that conclusion. It's just not advisable, if you may allow me to say, perhaps in the privileged position that I exist in. I'm not saying like no violence is justified. Have you seen that? Okay, totally off topic, but I was watching NL play Northern Lion, this other streamer, play Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And at some point one of the kids, like who's like a fourth or fifth grader, right, comes up, and then the teacher in the video, it's a video game, right? The teacher goes like, hey kid, what's a fun fact about you? And then the kid, she goes like, what does she say? She says like, violence from the oppressed is never the same as violence from the oppressor. And then they just, then that's it. They just move on to the next, like, all right, now let's do math. It's so funny. Sorry, I got really sidetracked, but that's the thing that popped into my head. It's just like, this is like just a 4th grader saying that shit. And then Anel going like, I didn't know she was based like that. What? So what I'm trying to say from this slight detour anecdote is not to go against the idea that violence from the oppressed is different from violence from the oppressor. That's not. I'm not about to be like, nobody should fight. It's all violence, all bad, and all the same badness. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, don't take that away from me, because I understand that's naturally where one's mind would go next. So no, that's not what I mean. Okay. Concisely, my thoughts are as follows: that I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the only way to get to this, or that it's not a foregone conclusion that this problem can't be solved. The problem of the phantasm. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Abby in her video concludes by saying, I don't know, no goddamn clue. I don't know what's going on. I don't see how one solves this problem. It's an insanely difficult, like, problem after having tackled so many extremely difficult problems in the video anyways. And the reason I feel somewhat justified in turning on the stream, going live, and talking about this shit is because I like to think that I can offer my few 2 cents on the matter, and that is that issue is an educational issue. The issue of the phantasm, I think, is one that education has to tackle. This is probably the most important question education has to face, and nobody gives a shit about facing it because, bottom line, because it's not profitable, because of the hostile socio-political climate currently, and even people who, and anyone who wants to tackle it intellectually is in academia, which is a fucking hellhole of rancid paper pumping capitalist bullshit anyways. So like, how would that even work, right? But nonetheless, it's like the most, I think at least, the crux of the educational issue is presented and is illuminated in the idea of the phantasm, which is itself illuminated through our understanding of, or certain reading and interpretation of Judith Butler's work on gender. Which is to say that the only reason I'm doing this stream right now is because I found a way to make Pride Month about myself as a cishet man. Yep, that's right. I did. I found a way. That's how I did it. I found a way to make this celebration about, you know, people who are not like me, totally about me again. That's why I did it, okay? You can hold your applause. I know, I'm very good. I'm very impressive. Very good at making things about myself. It's true. It's who I am. It's who I am. Been thinking about the phrase punch a Nazi lately, which I think is related. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. Because my feelings with it are like not, my feelings on it are not quite resolved. I don't think there's a perfect answer to the punch a Nazi sentiment or the debate that surrounds it. Because the thing is, like, it's not like they're a species of invasive insect that once we render extinct from the planet will never come up again. It will. Hateful ideology will sprout. Like it will form, not out of nowhere, of course, but like it will form even when you've killed every last Nazi on Earth. You're not going to stop Nazis from showing up. Because it's almost like, you know what it's kind of like? It's like, no, it's not. I was going to say it's kind of like the walkers in The Walking Dead, but if you kill all the walkers, it's like nothing. It's sort of like that, but whatever. The point is, like, it's not just like, as much as it's so easy for me to just go like, Nazis bad, Nazism bad, punch Nazi. It's so easy. Like, that's such, like, and that will get me all the brownie points. That will get me all the praise and virtue that I require myself. I could do it, but I think I'd be a little disingenuous in doing so. Okay, I think, as much as I hate to say it, they are people. And the issue with that is you can't just eliminate them and expect this idea to never come up again, this hateful ideology to come up again. Hateful ideology has been around since the dawn of time, okay? When there were 2 or more people on this, like, goddamn planet, there was already resentment and hatred and violence. Like, that's just like, you know, this shit happens. You can't just get rid of all the bad guys and then expect it to be solved. It's not that simple. I wish it were that simple, but it's not. And doing so can only make it worse, in my opinion. Doing so only enables the hostility and justifies the violence, because I don't want to say issue with oppressed violence. I'm not, look, you know what? The kid from the video game and the game show is based, okay? Violence from the oppressor is not the same as violence from the oppressed. Yes, they're not the same thing, but under certain conditions and in a certain context of things, again, you have to put everything in perspective here. Violence does lead to more violence, but more importantly than that, violence allows justification from the oppressed, allows justification for the violence of the oppressors, or it affords them justification, because now they can point and go, look, there's this one trans person who's bad. Like, you know, who's the trans person in, like, the Mr. Beast squad that's, like, she turned out to be, like, a piece of shit. And it's, like, now, like, that set progress back so much, because now all the bigots are gonna point to that and go, like, look, trans people are, like, inherently terrible. Look at what this one example of a person did. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's unfair that this thing happens, but it does. When your teammate runs it down, it makes the enemy a lot stronger. And when the enemy tries to, like, when your teammate fights back in a way that's not intelligent, in a way that is, just kind of, I don't want to say primitive, but you get what I'm saying, right? It only is going to cause more problems. I think even if the revolution is violent, there's got to be some strategy to the violence. This is what I'm trying to say, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. You can't punch the idea, exactly. You can't punch the idea away. Yeah. I'm also very good at making things about myself. It's the autism. Okay, it's not. I'm totally neurotypical, okay, guys? YouTube isn't gonna like me timestamping this one. YouTube isn't gonna like me at all in general after this. I think in the big 2025, if I did this stream like 5 years ago, I'm sure I'd be like, I don't know, Hololive Nijisanji levels by now, if I could just travel back in time and do this shit 5 years ago, but I can't, it is what it is. But being able to say that is in itself privilege when you're being actively attacked by party people that are fueled by hatred and act less than human. All that is to say, anti-Semitism, it is either take action or get hurt. Absolutely. That's an excellent point. What I'm saying is from a place of privilege. That's 100% true. No point in deflecting. Like, yeah, it is. I'm not currently being attacked for being a cis het male. I'm not. Some bigoted cishet men, particularly those who came to the male loneliness stream I did a while ago, may think that, but that's not true. I'm kind of sitting relatively comfortably, not having to worry about being hate crimed, at least in this aspect. That's absolutely true. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if you can help it, there's a lot of non-violent work to be done too, in addition to perhaps the work that will be inevitably violent. I don't know. I haven't solved the whole equation yet. That's over there. That's not, I'm not an expert on violence, okay? So don't ask me. It's just, or I'm not an expert on conflict and violence. Generally, I was brought up to sort of think war bad. Violence bad. That's the education I was afforded from the institutes that want to maintain the status quo, okay? Well, yeah, war is evil. Okay, well, you can't reconcile that with sometimes violence is necessary, can you? You almost made him say maybe don't budge. You know I wouldn't, like, no, whatever. Exactly, yeah. What I'm thinking about isn't like just, oh, okay, let's stop the violence. Let's drop the pitchforks and let's be kind to one another. Let's love each other. That's not what I'm doing, okay? Like I know the fiery hellscape I'm stepping into, okay? Or like I'm in right now. I'm not really stepping into it. I've sort of just been in it, right? Like, or we're all in right now. That is the world. It's not what I'm saying is like, can't we all just be friends? No. What I'm proposing is that we shouldn't, or the absence of a long-term solution is not a foregone conclusion. It's merely just the next greatest philosophical challenge in the history of philosophy, which is, you know, still happening now, as is the nature of philosophy. You're getting canceled again. I'm sure you could probably pick, like, you can pick things from this stream out of context and cancel me on, like, every front, so that I won't, like, when you cancel me, you can pick other clips that are gonna stop me from being, like, eventually devolving into a right-wing grifter as well. Like, my career is, like, over is what I'm trying to say. The Google Doc beckons. Oh dear. But yeah, that's the, I think that's the sort of concluding thought, right? Is, or maybe not, actually no, that's not the concluding thought. That's the concluding thought of this portion, of this section, is I think it's possible, and I just merely think it's philosophical and therefore challenging to make approaches to make steps to an approach that would be a long-term solution. And my 2 cents are that issue is an educational one inherently, and we have to think of it from an educational perspective, or else we're not going to get to grips with what's at stake here. I don't think you'd be a very convincing right-wing grifter. Unfortunately, your voice is too soft. I gotta, like, really work out, hit the gym, and then, like, yell to, like, destroy my throat, and then I'd be a pretty good grifter. Anyways, how do we move to the conclusion from here? What's the conclusion? Let me remember again, because it's all in my head. I didn't write it down. Much like most of my Void streams, is like I do a lot of reading and research and just thinking, and then I just spill it all out in one stream. And this is, this is what I'm doing, right? Yes. So concluding statement, concluding thoughts. What the fuck am I gonna do? I'm a philosophy VTuber, right? And if the idea is that it's an educational problem with a solution inherently steeped into the river of teaching, then my due diligence is, of course, to be a good teacher, or to educate. Sure, broadly speaking, yeah, but specifically, right? What's the play? What's the play by play? Why am I doing this? Why am I so brazenly, loudly putting up the pride flag of my channel for the first time? I don't think I've ever put up like the pride flag on my channel, even though I've talked about pride for many a moment. Let's see. I think the most recent one was probably yeah. My Path to Nowhere stream where I like put a very tiny like lesbian flag in the thumbnail. This is probably the most explicitly I'm gonna go like, hey, gay people are also people. Is like probably the most explicitly I'm gonna say it. This is the loudest I'm ever gonna yell it. And I cannot do that without undergoing a very thorough analysis and introspection on what it means to yell inclusivity, to yell acceptance, to yell, hey, people are people and we should love each other. Like it was. I wouldn't be the Philosopher VTuber if I didn't overthink that as I was doing it, right? So you can think of this stream as me essentially going like gay rights or trans rights or whatever the hell you'd probably want me to say. You would probably type in a VTuber chat and go like, can you say trans rights? And the VTuber says, you know what it's like? You know what it's like. You know what it's like. It's like that video, that short video with the Dream SCP like cast, and then you have them, you know, going like gay rights, trans people are people, and then like it's the most like deadpan, monotonous, like unenthusiastic validation and approval of the queer community I've ever seen. Let me look it up. It's so funny. It's so funny. Dream SMP trans rights. Where is it? It's so funny. It's so funny. Where is it? I can't find it. Fuck. God damn it. No, Dream SMP says gay rights. Is that gonna pull up the video? Yes! Yes!
A lesbian.
Oh my god. And it's like everyone except Technoblade sounds like they're really not into it, but they're saying it as a PR stunt. It's so good. Reaction streamer. I'm sorry. You've seen me for my true colors, and it's not the colors of the rainbow flag, it's the colors of a grifter. Or of like a React streamer.
A lesbian referred to me as actually pretty funny.
I don't care.
That's not it. That's like no, this is an edit.
Wilbur says trans rights. Yes, he does. Wilbur does say trans rights.
I want to feel like everybody in this chat is pretty much all like trans people.
No, it's an edit. It's not like the funny one. Where's the funny one? Yeah, it's this one.
Hey guys, LGBTQ is PogChamp.
Can you say lesbian rights? I will say that.
Can you say bi rights?
It's so fucking. Oh shit! I just realized is the music gonna be copyrighted? Okay, whatever. Anyways, that's like there's like a Twitter video about it. It's funny. Okay, there's a funny video on this. It's shit. Oh god, it's over. It's fucking over. I gotta erase that part of the stream. Oh, I hate YouTube. I hate YouTube. I hate YouTube. TLDR, we're cooked. No, TLDR, this is the greatest battle we're ever gonna face. I say that for everything, but yeah. Fuck. Yeah, it's probably actually copyrighted. Anyways, it reminds me a bit of that, where it's like if you kind of like go into people's streams and go, hey, can you please say thing, and then they say thing, and then that's it, there's no change or meaningful difference to it, then it's like, I'm not saying it's bad, you know, in the same way that's like, there's some good at it, in the same way there's some good in rainbow capitalism. Yeah, there is. I'm gonna erase it before I do timestamps, please. I can mute it. I'll just mute it. I won't erase it so it won't affect your timestamps. Don't worry. But, you know, it's not enough to just, in my opinion, in the standards I hold to myself as an authentic human being, I like to think, it's not enough to just go like X rights and then that's the stream. That's fucking boring, and it is disingenuous, and it's, to me at least, a symptom of rainbow capitalism. I don't want to say it's the same thing, a YouTuber doing it as a corporation doing it. No. I'm not saying it's the same thing. Absolutely not. I'm just saying that's not enough. Okay? It's not enough. It's not enough. You could do more. You could do more than that, okay? And if you can't do more than that, just like, you know, you can be like quieter about it. You can be low key about it. Well, while also reconciling like all of what I just said, or like the past maybe 5 minutes of what I just said, with reconciling with the fact that, okay, but nonetheless, it is June, it is Pride Month. You know what? Yes, I can do a stream talking about Pride. Yeah, I can. Specifically for this occasion, where I loudly blast all of this out self-awaredly and introspectively and in a way that's interesting. Do you see what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Is it making sense? Have you seen the J-Slat clip where he's like, I'm not going to say it because it doesn't mean anything if I just say it? Yes, I have seen it. Yes, I have seen it. Based. But that's exactly what I'm getting at. Once again, more eloquently articulated by someone who's not me, as is tradition. But yeah, I'm not going to say it because, like, just because, or because it doesn't mean anything if I just say it. That's the idea. I've echoed similar sentiments a while ago. I think maybe I want to say half a year ago, when I first started streaming and people were asking the philosopher VTuber questions and generally wanting to know that I'm on the right side of history is probably what it seemed like. Hey, please, like, you know, be a bigot. Please don't be a bigot. Okay, thank goodness he's not a bigot. You know, like, can you ask? You should ask for more than that. You should. Shut it, just kiss us. No. I went through the whole stream and I gave you all of this and you're like, I don't care. Can you please validate my sexual gratification? No. No, you're missing the point. Whatever. Anyways. Yeah, so you know what? It's kind of like what sorry, I hit my desk. It's a bit like what Phi said earlier in the stream. When he expressed this sort of like ecological thinking that paralleled pretty much the conclusions I was going to make anyways, right? But there is essentially, you know, TLDR, very, very, very simplified TLDR. This is my way of synthesizing the much louder, like, big rainbows, pride is cool, LGBTQ plus community. The people in the LGBTQ plus community are people and should have rights as people have rights. Like, there's a way to reconcile this loud, like, big, triumphant, like, yeah, it's awesome, with an implicit understanding of the problematic undertones of just saying instead of doing, and in committing this synthesis, or sorry, in synthesizing these alongside an analysis that is both introspective and somewhat researched on phantasms and gender theory. This makes a Charis Euphranor live stream. Or, you know what? It makes something that's worth the weight of a Charis Euphranor live stream. Because and I wouldn't hold myself to any lower standard. It has to be something that aligns this well. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. What the hell's the damn point? And you know what? The reason I think part of the push that allowed me to intellectually arrive at this conclusion is the fact that I know there's a big portion of my viewership that really wants the validation as, you know, non-cis hetero people, as there are many of those here with me now, and will be here with me in the VOD. I understand that there is, nonetheless, you just want to hear nice things, because it's just, like, you know, you could help from, like, there's not enough loud rainbow shouting that, you know what, maybe the more, I don't want to say, I almost said subservient, the more, like, quiet philosopher VTuber shouting once in a while, or who doesn't shout on many occasions, shouting the rainbow flag might be something comforting. And I want to say that I put quite a bit of an amount of work in preparation for the stream because I wanted to appease that emotional aspect of just pure, like, easy, simple validation with something, and I wanted to combine it with something that's a bit more stimulating, intellectually stimulating, because otherwise I didn't think it would have been worth doing. So you know what? I'm glad we came to this. Why could you be gay for $20? Because, like, you know, if I get accused of being gay only because of the money, I can launch into this whole spiel about how taking this money also enables my educative approach to the problem of phantasms. That was the whole stream today. It's because in doing so, I am inherently tackling and shedding light into the phantasm, shedding a sort of light into the phantasm that doesn't refract, or rather refracts in a way that's different from light usually. That's how we do it. How we do it. Do you do love? Well, let's not push our luck here, okay? Let's settle for for like, I get it. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but a young trans girl took her life, and for the past week, since transphobes have been absolutely vile about it, and TBH, even though this is the internet, I just don't understand how people could be so evil. Do you know why, or have any idea as to why people would behave this way en masse? Well, the short answer is, like, that's, I think, explained by the phantasm. It's explained by that. It's explained by people, the hostility and the violence and the hatred from the people, the transphobic people that have been absolutely vile about it, is because they have, through the phantasm, understood being anti-gender as the way to tackle their ever-present anxieties about the neoliberal state of the world, the extremely neoliberal state of the world. That's why. That's the core of the answer. That's like the most, like the most core of the answer is that. It's hard to, like, it's one to intellectually get it and arrive at the conclusion, but it's another to really come to grips with it, because it's like, how do you reason in your own head what it's like to be unreasonable? Like, you can't, because you are one who reasons. You engage in reasoning and at least earnestly, although not perfectly, but earnestly so, attempt to reason, attempt to think, attempt to rationalize, attempt to be honest and open with yourself and how you feel. But there are people who are, and like you, in one way or another, have been kind of able to accept and embrace the anxiety that is not inherently hateful and destructive. But people can't do that, or not everyone can do that, or not everyone has done that. In my opinion, everyone is capable of doing so. The evergreen question is how, right? That's the evergreen question. But even so, I feel like even people looking through the phantasm would still have to reckon with the fact that she was a child, right? No, they don't. Because she wasn't a child, she was an evil, woke, trans liberal who was actually harming other children around her by being woke and liberal and woke. How many times can I say woke in a sentence? That's the phantasm. The phantasm is precisely part of the phantasm is the dehumanization that goes on there. It's the whole, like, well, they're not really a person because they're woke, and that means to make this out of context. Oh god. That might bring traffic to my channel one way or another, I guess. We have a half stream because people always talk about the pain that queer people in the community go through. I'd like to actually talk about queer joy for once, gay happiness. So that was what I intended the beginning to be like before we descended into the despair. As I lied naturally as I breathed. Because remember in the beginning, I was like, you know what? This is going to be a happier stream. That's why I have a rainbow background instead of the usual sad, empty, black void that's there, right? I said that, and then now we're talking about, like, hate crimes. I wish to preserve some levity by saying if you want to hear me talk gay happiness, then like, you know, I could do another stream talking about. No, actually, that's not true, because anything that's inherently, you know what? Okay, here's what I like to say to this. I'm the philosopher VTuber, and part of philosophy is knowing the fact that you are not after happiness, because if you were, you wouldn't be fucking doing philosophy. You goddamn idiot! You want it to be happy? Get like an economics degree, so you can get a well-paying job, so you can make trips to Japan. That's how you get happiness. It's a much more straightforward way of doing it. Did you also talk about compulsory heterosexuality and what would cause people who identify as gay to end up partaking in that, and despite a seemingly outwardly accepting society? I don't know, it's just easier to be straight, right? It's just easier to be heteronormative. Maybe the last thing I can touch on that's like a bit, that could lend a bit more levity to the end, towards the end of the stream. I guess we're gonna end. Okay. Everything I've had to intellectually discuss ends here. That's it. That's the main conclusion. I'll stay around to chat for a little bit as well, but this is the main thing. This is the main bit of information that I thought was interesting to think about. All right. Okay. Now if we can chat about things a bit more casually, but I don't want to spend too much time on it, as well as in fear of the VOD being too long, which ends up being intimidating for people. Gay happiness is when, you know what? Okay, here's the most recent thing that's positive, that's gay, that I kind of figured out. For the longest time, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. This is more Genshin talk. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I am a filthy Hoyoverse simp. Well, not really. I love to dunk on them, but you know, like, I played Genshin Impact. Okay, I'm sorry. I played Genshin Impact. Anyways, there's two characters in Genshin Impact. There are two women in this game, named Farina and Arlecchino. Okay. And for the longest time, they were a very popular sapphic ship. And I didn't get why. Because there were sapphic ships that made sense to me, for example, Jean, Lisa, where it's like, okay, one's the Grandmaster and one's like the Librarian, and there's like a tension and like a chemistry with them on screen, and we can like see where that goes, and it's like it's in character. There's like Florend and Navia, who are like they're like in all the events, they're next to each other and they flirt with each other all the time on screen. It's like obviously they're gay, like, for each other. It just makes perfect sense. And then there's a ship, the Arlefuri ship, exactly, yep. That for the longest time I was confused by. I was like, I don't understand, because in character, Farina de Fontaine, Fosselors, whatever, the Hydro Archon of the sovereign nation of Fontaine, is, you know, this meek and mild, but ultimately grows to be braver. Oh, thank you for the super, Victor. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Can we have some aftercare? Kiss them like you owe us. What do you mean aftercare? Ugh. I'll think about it. Okay, whatever. The point of the Arlefuri ship, right? So Farina is this meek and mild, like, world leader, and at some point in the plot, Arlecchino is this operative, this Snezhnayan operative who was tasked with, or she wasn't tasked with, she did it of her own accord, actually. I'm trying to think back now to the story back then. Attempting an assassination on Farina, and then subsequently berating her in front of you, the MC Traveler, about how she is such a fucking terrible world leader and can't run her goddamn country, and like they're gonna have to take matters in their own hands as like almost like humanitarian intervention, which is interesting because the Fatui and the Snezhnayan forces are set up as this antagonistic force at the beginning of the game, but then um it's sort of devolving into murky and like morally gray area. Anyways, the point is like Arlecchino trying to kill her and had like rest of her screen time has been relentlessly and mercilessly criticizing her. That was hot. Yeah, like so now I get why, but like hang on a sec, okay? We get there. But for the longest time, me as a guy, I was like, I don't get this shit. I don't get why why do lesbians love Arlefuri? I don't see it. Like they have no synergy with each other. They have anti-synergy. Their in-game kits were designed to be anti-synergistic with each other as well. Like they couldn't be any more opposed. So like why were they so shipped together so heavily? And then in my head, I was like, no, the point of the ship isn't to extend upon what happens in the canon, or rather, that's only part of it. The second part, the more like fantasy fulfillment portion of it is to reconcile their hatred, or at least their like the animosity one party has for another, in a way that's like, okay, now they're fucking. That's like and then like the moment I drew that connection in my head, like it's like, oh, I get it now. And then I thought, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of hot. Yeah, I see it. I get it. You know what? Actually, that is fucking sick. Damn. And then like ever since then, whenever I see like, slightly spicier fan art of Arlefuri, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I see it now. This is real. I see why this is such a chokehold on the lesbian community, on the sapphic community in Hoyoverse. I get it now. It makes sense to me. Toxic Yuri, etc., etc. I don't think it's a man issue. I think it's a vanilla issue. That might well be the case. I don't know, man. You know what's hot? Black Swan Acheron. Real as fuck. Real as fuck. But like, Black Swan Acheron has like, there's like the flirty subtext under the horror and like the psychological warfare as well, which is what makes sense, because which I immediately grasped, because I'm like, oh, I see it. Yeah. Like there's like I've shown it before on stream, so I'm not gonna do it again, but like that animation between them, the dance they had, is like, okay, this is more sexually intimate than like most pornography I have ever borne witness to. Like it's so like, I don't know, like it'd be less gay if they just started having sexual intercourse. Like they would be less gay if they just did that. Like that is how intense that like scene was. And that to me, I was like, oh, I get it now. I see the fan art. I see the vision. I get it. But the Arlefuri ship is like the fan interpretation. The fans are adding in the sexual tension, or they're doing a lot of heavy lifting in pushing the two dolls together to kiss. You know what I'm saying? Like they're doing like a lot of work, but in doing so, it's like it's even more compelling. Maybe, I don't know if it's even more compelling, but it's like in doing so, it's compelling in a different sense. It's like you're doing it, like you are willing their sapphic relationship into being. I imagine, for example, that it wouldn't be as hot if Arlefuri made more sense in the game from like the game. Their interactions with each other. Crack ships are the best. Yeah. The other thing is like their character personalities are very appealing to what I understand as like the sapphic anime fantasy, which is like women who are like, who express gender in a way that is like not just purely strictly feminine, but feminine in a way that's like, I don't want to say it's feminine but also kind of masculine, but it's like it's forward, it's progressive, it's like I don't know, it's hella gay. It's like really gay. It's the only way I can say it. I don't know, I'm a straight man, so I don't have much, like, I'm not able to articulate these thoughts very well, but yeah. It's kind of like, I get, it's like Arlifree was difficult for me to grasp at first because it's not like Kate Vi from Arcane or something. Kate Vi from Arcane, I was like, they literally fucked on screen. Like, it's kind of like, it's not even a ship. It's just straight up like, there it is. There's the meal. I hope you enjoy, right? But it's like, the Arlifree thing is like, no, like, there's so much potential, but like, they haven't done anything with them on screen, so we're gonna take it in our own hands and do it ourselves. I don't know. Zhongli and Diluc my number one ship. Now that's a crack ship as well. Isn't Farina Arlie just Brat Tamer? It's like, it's not so much. It's sort of, there's an element of Brat Tamer in there, but but Farina's not just like purely brat, because that's a part of her, but she's also like a timid sort of less than forward. Like, I imagine a big. Oh, okay. I don't know this. Let me guess. Let me ask you, actually, because you guys are the experts here, actually, probably a lot more than I am. Is it fair? Is it fair for me to assume that people who really like Arlifuri, if they are the type to immerse themselves in the sapphicness of it, do they put themselves more often than not into Farina's perspective or Arlecchino's perspective? Because I think it leans more towards imagining yourself as Farina. A self-insert as Farina? Thank you for saying that. Now I have like peer-reviewed research, but just now I was just making shit up in my head as someone who has no on-field experience. But now I've got confirmation from people like in the trenches, like on the ground. So I'm like, okay, this is justified now, me thinking this. Yeah, so I think there's a big appeal in that's like, she could kill me, and she has tried to kill me, but she doesn't because she's overwhelmed by her like romantic and or sexual obsession with me, which triumphs over this animosity, and that's what makes it so appealing, right? Am I putting it into words? Does it kind of like, it's literally just, do I want to be her or do I want to be with her? I'd love to see myself in both of their shoes. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe we can even like extend on what I just said to include, okay, it's on the other end of it. On the other end of it, it's also like you as like the dom, I guess, if we're using those words, because it's Pride Month. Let's use the words more liberally, right? If you're the dom in this situation, you really like, the dynamic is hotter, like the tension is, there's a higher tension because you are like, there's a level of animosity that's being overwhelmed by your intense like romantic and sexual attraction to the other person. That's it, right? That's like, it's the thing is like, it's the enemies and lovers, right? But it's not like just enemies to lovers and now they're lovers and not enemies anymore, but it's like maybe that balancing act of like, oh, but they hate each other, oh, but they're fucking, is it kind of like that? Is it? I'm trying to get it. I'm right there. I think I'm almost able to wrap it around my head. I'm just so close. Have you taken the BDSM test? No, and I just kind of don't want to. I don't know. I don't feel like it. It's not particularly because I feel like those are ideas I don't want to talk about or like think about or share. It's just kind of like, there's no reason to do it yet. I can't think of a reason. Maybe if you took the test, you get a better understanding. I hate that you are making me consider this. Why would you do that? Why would you make me think about this? I don't want to think about this. You're giving me reasons to think about it now. Fuck. No. You're using my ways against me. No. Ah. Not that desperate for donuts. Yeah, that's also kind of true. Take the test, funny streamer, man. Oh. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it off stream. You know what? Maybe we'll do it off stream. What will you lose by doing it? It's not like what I lose, but it's more like everything I do. My art has meaning. It is impact. My art is my art, and I care about it, and it's important to me. I'm not gonna do it just for a laugh. You have to send a pic of results? Yeah, maybe. When we send our results in the Discord, that'd be funny. God damn it. Can I make it so that it's like, you can only view the channel if you submit your results? I think that would make more sense. Whatever. Sending my results in solidarity. I'll think about it. I don't need to know how, like, freaky all of you are, okay? Like, I don't need to know that. It's not information I'm seeking, okay? Nor do I think you all need to see this part of my life. Frankly, I just don't think it's very interesting. I think if it's interesting, I'd be willing to share it. Because I understand it's personal and some people don't want to share it for personal reasons. That's not why I don't want to share. I don't want to share it because it's like it's not interesting. It's just like, okay, here's what you're into. Here's what you're not into. Okay. It's just dumb stuff. Well, that's fucking boring then, isn't it? Oh, how aroused are you at the thought of telling someone to do something and they do it? Well, it's like, it's nice, I think. But also I feel like there should be a give and take. I mean my score was dumb stuff. Okay. No, I'm not asking you to share. I'm not asking anyone to share. Shut up. I don't care. I don't want to know. God. Let me think. How do I go about this? How do I alleviate the slightly more serious and despairing tones and themes of the earlier discussion with a bit of levity without just doing a BDSM test? Because I kind of don't want to. You're not a little bit curious? No, I'm not curious at all about you, all of you. I'm like I was trying to point my finger and like scroll it at chat, but I realized you can't see it. But I'm not interested in any of you. And I'm not curious about myself, or in the sense that my curiosity of myself has been largely satiated because I understand myself very well. And like, I don't think I'd have to take a test to know what I'm like. I know what I'm like. I know what I want. I know what I'm into. Like, I've got a pretty good idea, okay? I've got a pretty good idea, I think, of what works. It's not an exhaustive, okay, here's what I was like. I have a pretty good idea of what works. But it's not an exhaustive list. I feel like eventually I could add more to the list of what, you know, so to speak, works, but I'm not in a rush to do it. I'm 60 years young, okay? I've got a lot of life in me. I guess a kiss on the mic. No. Nah. I'm like an ancient samurai wife. I will only lay with a man who beats me in a fair duel. That's not what they did. That's not what all of them did, right? I don't know. Discord bot lets you send anonymous messages. It'd be funnier. Okay. It's all just vanilla, isn't it? Shut up. do 18 plus verification by sending mod's ID with the birth date cropped out. I don't think we need to do 18 plus verification, and I don't want to introduce reasons to do it, which is why we're not doing that. There we go. Actually, that's the answer. That's the reason why we're not doing it, is because we don't need this. We don't need more reasons to have to explicitly and artificially add a filter for 18 plus, because I think the natural adult filter is working well enough. Okay. Yes, please enjoy another birthday gift. You are not like, no, it's not happening. We just for June, so we have kids sending it. We're not having anyone sending it, motherfuckers. No one is sending it. No one is gonna talk about their BDSM tests. I don't want to see that shit. No. I don't know you people. I don't want to get to know you either. I don't. I sent you $20. Where's my kiss? I cannot. You can't buy a kiss from me for $20, okay? Because I feel as though, like, it sends the wrong message, you know? The idea is, like, that shouldn't be the case, because then it's encouraging more, like... Because then I'm creeping a bit into the rainbow capitalism. You haven't even given me YouTube member role in Discord. There is no YouTube member role in Discord, actually. There's no YouTube member Discord. There is a YouTube member role, because you would have nothing from the role. The point of membership on YouTube, the way I designed it, is that you gain nothing from it. You gain emotes, but it's at the cheapest possible price, because I hate like having to pay wallet at all, but it's not a choice. Like YouTube forcefully does that. And beyond that, it's like you get nothing from it. There's no incentive to spend, because I just don't like that idea. What if someone sends NSFW fan art of you? You can do that. It's not like it hasn't been done. Oh my god. Okay. It's funny because you bring that up. I'll give you a little bit of sneak peek into the future, but I was the other day, for no reason at all, I was talking to our team, and we were going through the Discord. And she was like, "Oh my god, look at all this fan art!" And she like Artie was very proud. This is ultimately her work. Like this is like she's seeing it's like fan art of her like OC, right? It's kind of like the way she like interprets it as well, which is, you know, yeah, of course, right? And then we were scrolling through it, the Discord, and then we got to the one that crack Jew or cocaine consumer or like kitty, whatever the name this person uses. I have no clue at this point. It's too many. The Embreg, no. The one with the robe. Yes, it was the robe one. And I think it was like dead ass went quiet for like 3, 4, 5 seconds. I was counting. And she went like, "What did you do? What are you doing?" Because she hasn't had time to watch my streams recently. She's like, "What are you doing on stream?" And I was like, "I swear to you, I do not encourage this at all." Our team saw impregs. Yeah, everything. Our team has seen everything now, pretty much. But anyways, like, I had to go like, I literally don't encourage this. I promise you, that's not what I do. You are getting a really bad impression of what I do on stream by the fan art and the community interaction surrounding this. I'm not like, this isn't who I am, please. Don't think it's really NSFW though. It's not, yeah, but you bringing out NSFW art like reminded me of this interaction. But I was like, you know, I told them I didn't mind, but I didn't go beyond that. I was like, I swear, I said, I don't care if you do it. It's none of my business. And that's all. I didn't encourage this. I didn't bait it. I wasn't like, oh, if you draw art of me in a more promiscuous, you know, interpretation, then I will promise X reward. Like, no, I didn't do any of that shit, and I'm not going to do any of that shit. I don't want to, because it's like not who I am. Did our team see that cocaine chan art? Yes, that one. Yes, that one. That one. And it's like, I feel like there is such a disconnect between what I'm doing and what my audience reaction is to what I'm doing, that I feel like someone who joins the community is going to get a really, like, not the best idea of what I do here. I don't know. Our team doesn't realize we will baby girlify you regardless of your wishes. The thing is, like, and I explained it to her as well. Like, I understand this as well. It's not like I'm at a loss for words and I have no idea what's going on and I'm clueless. No, I'm the philosopher VTuber. I know everything. I know what it. I understand part of this. Okay. Katie sent much worse in DMs, but I don't think she'd ever send it in art. Oh my god. Well, look, you could do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. If you want to share it, you can share it. If you don't want to, if you want to share it amongst yourselves, you can share it amongst yourselves. If you want to send it to me, you can. It's just, you know, like, I'm not gonna encourage it. I'm not gonna admonish it. I'm going to be very hands off, and if it's art, right? I guess. NSFW just for DMs, don't post in art. No, you can post it there if you want. I would say maybe blur it. There's like a spoiler blur you can do. Blur it, yeah. You have my full permission to post NSFW stuff in the art channel, or maybe even make a new channel, I don't know. And then like blurring stuff. If you blur it, that's okay. Because if you blur it, then people who don't want to see it don't have to see it. That's the solution. Should we be... I just absentmindedly said that. I forgot that, like, this isn't like a Discord server for like a gacha game. This is like a Discord server for my channel. I didn't think about that really, but also, like, whatever. Age restricted. Well, if you do, you should make age restricted. That's for certain. If you do, you should age restricted. But again, I don't care what you do. Anyways, it's like I was talking to our team about it, and I was like, okay, but I get it though. Or like, I think I see part of where it's coming from, because a lot of times in VTuber culture, there's like people want to bait lewd interaction. A big part of it is because it's validating. It feels good to be perceived. It feels good to be wanted. It feels good to be desired and all of that. And people like thrive on these emotions and this validation. And I think that's, you know, this is just how people are. This is human nature. I myself have no such human weakness because I am the philosophy VTuber. I don't need more validation. I'm good. I'm okay. I know I'm desired. Like, that's fine. But even if I weren't, that's not what keeps me going. I don't wake up because I'm like people want me. I wake up and do shit because I am needed by the world. Is maybe the way I think of it. And because of that, I sort of, unlike a lot of no, maybe not a lot, but like a good amount of other VTubers, don't engage with it at all, or I don't ever like try to bait it. I don't try to encourage it, because I'm not incentivized by it. I don't get anything out of it. Okay, I don't get anything out of it. It's just, I guess maybe the way I could say it, right? And I think that invokes a certain like now I have to do it. Like it's similar to the connection I made to the Arlith Fury ship. Is like, okay, I think it's precisely because it's absent in the canon that in the fan interpretation, a member of the audience may want to add something in that changes a certain perceived dynamic, etc., etc. All this to say, I think if I really like, I know why it happens and I know how to stop it, but the cost of me stopping it is either stamping down very hard and strictly going like, no, I'm uncomfortable with it, which would be lying because I'm not uncomfortable with it. That would be a lie because I'm not uncomfortable with it. I don't care. I think it, my philosophy is like, this goes beyond me and it shouldn't be my business. It's fucking none of my business is what I'm trying to say. And the other way is to bait it. The other way is for me to fully lean into it and embrace it so that it becomes not as, you know, compelling. The way I think of it is kind of like humor and comedy, where if part of playing a character, so part of, for example, and this is just an excuse for me to talk about Michael Vsauce Stevens, right? Part of what makes Michael Vsauce Stevens memes so funny is the fact that he is purely an educator and he plays the straight man, in the sense that like he is very self-serious and he talks about and things in a way that is like he wants to educate. He wants to teach you stuff. He wants to share facts about the world that lead to really interesting conclusions. You know, he wants to talk about science. He wants to talk about paradoxes. He wants to talk about math. And he's just so passionate about that. That in his passion, he unknowingly sort of says funny shit out of context. Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Did you know that I'm in your walls? Like it's like that, and that spawns the type of meme that's like, oh, actually he's insane and he's a serial killer, or he's like, you know, he's in your walls. And I think Vsauce sort of leaned into that humor a bit, especially in like Instagram reels that I watched from him, that make the joke a little less funny. Like I wouldn't say it's not funny at all, but I would say it certainly makes it less humorous. It's less funny when he's in on the joke as well. Like part of the joke is that he's not in on it, even though he is. Like we can pretend like he's not in on it, but when he becomes in on the joke, there's the very like it becomes slightly less funny to me when he does the funny like out of context stuff. What he like leans a bit too heavily into saying shit that sounds funny out of context. And the solution to, in my opinion, being funny in that dynamic and in that regard is to completely play it seriously, to completely, even though you know it, pretend as if you are not aware of the memes going on. And however, implicitly lean onto the humor by providing more fuel for the fire, right? That's the idea. I think the same way about VTuberludes. I feel the same way in the sense that like I feel as though people who want to be sexualized in a way that is gratifying and validating, if you want to do it, you want to be less desperate about it. I think that's the way to go. So what I'm trying to say is like, to all the other VTubers out there, if you want people to, you know, think and see you in a specific way, you gotta like not want it. You have to like pretend like you don't want it. Okay, that's the idea. But the problem with that for me is like I actually don't want it. It's not that I want it gone. I just don't really desire it. I have no such desire. I have no hatred. I just have no desire. And because of that, I kind of just have to let it happen, I guess. Is my concluding statement. Okay, long rant. In summary, yes, you can make a new Discord channel that's, you know, age verified and everything. You can do that. You have my permission to, and I think if it makes it easier for people, you can do that. I'm not offended. I think it's like natural. I don't know, maybe not natural, but like I think it's like it's fine. and I'm not prudish about it. I want to think that I'm relatively sex positive about stuff. I'm not particularly prudish about things, but at the same time, it's also like, make sure to put 5 barriers on it. Verification from Discord. I think Discord can have that manually, where it's like you have to input like a credit card number, or like a phone number or something. I don't know. For people of age to be able to see that stuff, and generally just keep it away from what's on the doorsteps. But you can have it on the channel, whatever. I don't know. This is the best Pride Month gift you could have given. All right, yeah, I'm doing like here. You can have that, and in exchange, I'm not kissing the microphone because I don't. I think that's a little beneath me at the moment. Okay, I don't need that yet. You gotta create an NSFW tag. No, because like no one's gonna post on Twitter because Twitter fucking sucks, right? I mean. Maybe I do. I don't know. Whatever. Nobody uses Twitter anymore. If anyone has a request for that, I'll make it. But I don't think I'm need to worry about that. You could for kids. It's like, it's yes. Yeah. You know what? Yes, actually, that's exactly it. Anyways, just wanted to say that Pride Month is over now, that I've done this obligatory 2-hour stream, 3-hour stream, talking about Pride Month. I just want to say it's over now, because now it's actually Charis Euphranor month. It is the Charis Euphranor anniversary month, where we get to celebrate me and how awesome I am, and how I'm the first and last philosopher VTuber and the last librarian of Alexandria. You said you wouldn't do it on stream though, but implied you'd be fine with it outside of stream. That's not what I said, but also like, I feel like I'd probably be less reluctant to do in real life, in a weird, like, paradoxical way. Okay, in a weird paradoxical way, I feel like there's a certain sense of realness if it was like IRL, that like you have a very clear vision of what's going on and there are no delusions. Whereas I think in an online VTuber persona, there's a bit of the there's a bit of a delusion or an illusion for what's going on. And I think it's very clear, and that's like kind of the way I see like spicy content is like, I think the most important thing is that it's fake. You have to know it's fake. And I actually feel like paradoxically, if it happened in real life, it'd be easier for, like, if a friend came up to me, if one of my friends came up to me and he went like, hey, it's Pride Month, can you kiss me on the cheek? Because it's Pride Month, I'd be more inclined to do that than to do it in like a VTuber persona, actually. Because like in real life, it's like, well, that this is like make-believe. This is pretend. Whereas I think it's the barrier for separation is strangely less there when it's in this context. Why? I have no idea. No idea. The reason I like this sort of thing is because it's fake and makes IRL into, like, yeah. It's a lot more as an aesthetic, non-sexual. So, all this to say no, because I feel like it's because all this to say no, I'm not gonna kiss the microphone because it is bad for you. Okay, that's what I mean. I think it's objectively bad for you. I actually think it would be less destructive if I kiss like a homie in the cheeks. It would be less bad that way. As a Discord incites for fans, I feel like an 18 plus channel generally incites a more openly sexual attitude in fans, but I don't know, I don't follow the male VT with plus 18 channels, so who knows. So the thing is, like, I don't want to, I think I want to play, the way I want to play it, right, is, I think right now there's too much of a barrier between people who do, like, VTubers who do NSFW stuff and people who do so-called say-so stuff. And there's a huge barrier in between that I think is not natural, in the sense that I don't think people are purely nothing but sexual beings. But at the same time, I don't think people, unless you're like ace, in which case you are a sexual being, you're just an asexual being, but you know, like, you know what I'm saying, right? You understand what I'm saying, okay? But people are not purely sexual beings and they're not purely say-so beings. Like, people are like both. The problem with say-so channels is I feel like sometimes they censor their true thoughts and do not present themselves authentically. The problem with lewd 18 plus NSFW channels or VT is I feel like they do not present themselves authentically either, because so much of it is played up as a sexualization of oneself, which is, I think, it's a part of a person, but is not like the full thing. There's a whole ass like human, which is really interesting. That, and I think the only way to earnestly, genuinely have that stance, to me, is to allow for both. You cannot hard stop one or the other, which is why I permit NSFW stuff. Okay, even though that's not at all what I'm about. It's nothing I do is, I like to think, inherently like sexualized. I talk into a microphone about things I find interesting. That's literally all I do. I don't know. You want people to talk about taxes and dojins in the same server? Well, I mean, that's like what makes the human, is like you are all of those things. And we can't shy away from parts of ourselves. We have to embrace the whole of everything we are. It's everything that you are, everything. Which is so important to authenticity, which extends into the themes on phantasms and communicating with the unreasonable, etc., right? Like, I think it all ties in, but in a way that I think is beyond the scope of the stream. Anyways, it's been 3 hours. I need to stop talking. I need to shut up. I need to go to, I need to go prep for tomorrow. I need to do other things. I need to put out a schedule, which I haven't put out yet. I put up an informal one on Discord, but a summary, I'm not going to post it because you'll see why. Because I want to flavor it in a way that is not readily flavorable yet. But essentially, it's just, well, today's stream, which happened. On Friday, we're going to do informal, small, it's like a beta test Discord movie watch along where we watch Interstellar. And I know there's no Discord link on my channel description, that's the point. You have to ask me for it. We're doing that. We're doing Five Nights at Freddy's on Saturday, and we are doing the debut review / analysis / introspection on Sunday. That's what we're doing. I think part of the appeal is because you yourself are very restricted, and then you say shit like, there's a really good way to do gym. No, it's just because like part of my, like, it's not important. Like, it's not that important. I'm trying to say it's like, it's real, it's natural. I am a sexual being in the same way that people are sexual beings. And to pretend like I'm not to pretend like I'm some faux asexual on stream is dishonest and disingenuous. But at the same time, my sexuality is just a very, very small part of me that I frankly find not very interesting. So I don't spend time talking about it. That's why. It's because it's like, who cares? I don't care. I don't know, you might care, but like I don't care. Because I don't care, I'm not doing it. Anyways, yeah. Friday is an informal Discord hangout movie stream night. Saturday is Five Nights at Freddy's, and Sunday is debut review. That's it. That's everything. That's everything. Can't wait for the schedule. Probably not see in what channels is it. I'm gonna post it in announcements if I finally make the damn thing. It's like a, you know, the whole thing. And I'm also gonna post it in my YouTube community channel because that's where I've posted schedules in the past. Might even do it on Twitter actually for this occasion, this monumentous occasion. Will you do more anniversary themed things leading up to the 8th? Wait and see, please. Wait and see. I'm so close. Okay. I'm fucking editing the teaser video, okay? And it's so hard because I need to, because I'm not very good at voice acting, and I wish I was a better voice actor, but I'm not. And like, I'm editing it, okay? I'm editing the video for this month, okay? And when it's out, it's out. It's gonna be a very short, like 1-2 minute video, but I promise it's kind of funny. It's like a little funny. It's not that funny, but it's a kind of, it's a little bit of a thinker as well. It's like a little bit of that, but it's more importantly like it's the theme for the month. And you know what? The theme for the month isn't actually Pride Month. It's Charis Euphranor month. So you're channeling your inner Nietzsche and saying that I hate Christianity and the belief in the importance of ideals is because they think sex, the act that brings life, is vulgar or something like that. That's not what I'm channeling in that particular moment. But like, sex isn't vulgar in Christianity. It's more so like promiscuous, casual, like sex in the way is not good in a Christian, generally in a Christian context, because the idea is precisely because of how important the act of bringing life in the world is that we shouldn't, like, you know, spam it. You know, you shouldn't be spamming your alt. You should be using your alt in the right time. That's what Christianity's saying. Okay, I think, from what I understand. So that's like sort of, if that is what Nietzsche said, then my rebuttal / slight critique of that statement is that they're just saying you should alt less. Not that you shouldn't alt at all, or that alting is bad. It's just that alting is like very important and you shouldn't do it so brazenly and so casually. That's the idea. Is it gonna be streamed into Discord or free for all? Find it and watch it. I think I'm probably gonna, if it's on, just because it's just on Discord, I'm gonna I'll just stream it. I'll just stream it. I'll just share screen. You know, you can just watch my screen, whatever. Sure, but Christianity, especially in the West, makes sex and sexuality so repressed. Okay, yeah. So what my defense was for Christian theology. Not Christian practice. Christian practice, I have no defense for it, man. Like, look at that shit. What the hell's going on? I don't know, okay? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but sex is fun. Why not do it if you're safe? Well, because, like, you're ugly and nobody wants you is one of the reasons I can think of off the top of my head very quickly. And with that personal attack to all the queers in chat, I'm going to leave now. Goodbye, everyone. Farewell. Have fun. And I'll see everyone on... Well, I'll see some people on, like, Friday, I guess. And I'll see everyone on Saturday. My last act in my Pride Month stream being like hate crime is unplanned, but I wouldn't do it any other way.